wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Monday, everybody.
That's an oxymoron.
Well, welcome to it nonetheless.
Or a misnomer. It's one of those. Happy Monday, everybody.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Busy week.
Busy weekend, too.
Yeah, I got basketball playoffs.
Yeah.
Goddard getting in.
Yep.
Artesia as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have those playoff games for you later this week. KSVPTV.com will be the source for that.
Yes, sir.
We'll get you more information as times and stuff all roll in. We kind of got somewhat of a picture.
Yeah.
I know...
For some reason, I don't understand why the NMAA decides to do all the seating on a Sunday. It just feels like a silly... Like, you guys
I think
could
that's
do
when all
it
the games are done.
Y'all could do it on, like, the Saturday following whatever games happen. I mean, just, I don't know.
Guess they're tired.
It just feels inconvenient. You give the broadcast side very little time to prepare.
Oh, no one cares about broadcast.
Of course not.
Never the case. But I know Artesia versus Lovington, that will be set for 6 p.m. Saturday. KSVP Radio, 990 AM, KSVP, and KSVPTV.com will cover that game. Goddard games, Friday and Saturday. We're still waiting on game times for that, but Scott Galletti will call those games for us this week.
Mm-hmm.
So more information as the times get cemented in and all that good stuff. But happy weekend. Of course, it's not only is it playoff week, municipal elections are tomorrow. So we're almost done listening to the bevy of political ads that have been smattering the commercial breaks.
Almost.
Almost.
We've got plenty of time still.
We're not
whole
there.
Whole 24 hours.
Yeah, you got a whole another 24 hours.
Soak it in. If you still haven't made up your mind, just tune in during our commercial breaks. We'll help you.
There you go.
We can sway you. If you're undecided on February 28th in a March 1st election, you guys should probably
you got a busy day ahead of you then.
That's right.
Then you need to get
do your own independent research. That's all we're encouraging you.
Oh.
But yeah, get out there and make your voice heard tomorrow, March 1st. Polls will be open 7 a.m. at all the voting convenience centers.
Yeah. Someone else just handed me something here, and I was
fun.
Not ready to report that yet, but it'll come out.
Somebody spot Tupac?
Yes.
Oh, dude, I knew it.
Hanging out with Elvis. And Jerry Glanville, weirdly enough.
Wow.
But,
odd pairing. That's not a group.
Jerry Glanville just running. I told you.
Seen him.
Let me give you the rundown for today's show.
Yes.
We're going to start things off this hour. We're going to have joining us from Loveless Regional Hospital will be their new family medicine provider, Sarah East Brahmana. I think I'm saying that right. If I'm butchering that, which good chance I am. She'll correct us here in a minute. But yeah, we're going to talk about what she provides there through her family practice. And, of course, folks looking for a new family practice provider, Sarah's got you covered. And we'll talk all about that here in just a little bit. In the 8 o'clock hour, about 8:15, we're going to have City Councilor Jacob Roebuck join us. Of course, he's not running for re-election. Right. He's going to be done after this last cycle here. But he does want to come on the radio, talk with folks. You and I both have heard a lot of information being thrown around during this election cycle. He wants to set the record straight on some of that stuff. He wants to come on and talk about what the city council has done and break down some of the fact and fiction that's been going on in the campaign season.
He goes,
here.
I'm not running again. Scorched earth, going scorched earth, baby.
I don't think that's.
I'm gonna set some drapes on fire before I walk out.
Well, good thing we don't have any.
Right?
We barely got windows. But anyway, Jacob will join us here, and we'll chit-chat for a little bit. And then in 9 o'clock hour, about 9:15, Guy Malone, gubernatorial candidate for mayor.
Oh.
Gubernatorial, does he? Mayoral candidate.
Mayoral candidate.
That'd be a new one. Mayoral candidate.
I'm running for governor of Roswell.
The mayor of Governor of Roswell. But governor-mayor. No, he's running for mayor.
I want to run, but I want to run and give myself a new title. I'm running for Grand Poobah of Roswell.
There you go.
Get the big hat.
Hey, it's Monday morning. You
Heck yeah.
You gotta cut me some slack.
Of course.
But he is candidate for running for mayor, and he'll join us here in a little bit and talk to us about why all of you should vote for him tomorrow in the municipal election. Of course, early voting is done.
Yep.
No mass voting till tomorrow, but there'll be 11 different polling locations. I'll run those down for you multiple times between now and tomorrow.
It does seem silly because in any other facet of life, if you show up a day early to something, you're early. Mm-hmm. Except for in politics.
Today is that sweet middle
I guess
gooey
technically
ground.
you'd still be really early if you show up today.
The calm before the storms. I guess you could. Even the polling locations aren't open.
I want to
Didn't
meet
even have
that.
the people there yet. I don't think.
I want to meet that super enthusiastic guy that shows up to the polls with a sleeping bag the night before.
In a tent,
Woo! Vote! Yeah, baby!
a tent and a camel bag.
That's right. Just a whole backpack, like a rucksack full of potted meat
And so many empty Gatorade bottles.
and one spork. That's all you need. A couple things of mustard.
That's right. Saltine crackers. But
It's the pate of the South.
That's right.
It really is.
that pretty much covers the gamut for today's show.
Mm-hmm.
How's your weekend?
I was busy.
Yeah?
Had the kids. Just kind of had them running all over the place over the weekend.
Good.
Got both of them cut yesterday. Both a haircut.
Oh, I was about
Yeah.
to say,
Yeah, got them cut. Had some street toughs meet them in a back alley. Figured they got to learn sometime.
do that. They joined a biker gang. I wasn't sure which.
Hunter, Rhiannon, get your pocket knives. We're going to a rumble.
I was like, did they get patched into a motorcycle gang?
Right. We're blood in, blood out in this family.
Okay.
We also live our life a quarter mile at a time, but they haven't gotten there yet. No, I got their haircut yesterday. Rhiannon, it was cool. We only a couple of times in her life we ever chopped most of her hair off, but we lopped it off almost completely. Gave her the mid-neck bob. And
How'd
Hunter
you take that?
She not well.
No.
She fussed a little bit. Hunter though, so the last time we got his haircut, it was equal parts adorable and heartbreaking because he was sitting there, tears streaming down his face, going, "Daddy, my feathers! Help me get my feathers back!" And so I was equal parts heartbroken, but also like, "Oh!" This time, like a champ.
Nice.
I had to hold his head up because he was just kind of looking down and stuff.
Coming of age, he knows
Yeah.
now. It's like it's just part of life.
Yeah. He likes those little, the quick buzz in the back, like I do.
Good.
He gets the chills.
You could take my feathers, but they'll come back. These feathers don't run.
They always come back fuller and thicker.
Oh, that's good. Enjoyed that.
All right.
Let me see. Oh, I had a good weekend.
Yeah?
Saturday, I went out to the Community Little Theaters performance of Four Old Broads.
How was the play?
It was excellent. They did an awesome job. It was funny, laughing. They did a great job. They had a great turnout of, I think, both nights. I think they had 106 night ones, what I was told.
Wow.
And I don't know the numbers from Saturday, but it looked pretty full to me. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of empty
They're
seats
pulling
left.
at Elvis numbers.
There you go. But it was very good. You got one more weekend left to check it out.
Yep.
Matter of fact, they'll be in later this week to remind folks. But
Mine's going to be next weekend because I'm kidless next weekend. So.
But I highly recommend you all go check it out Friday, Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. or Sunday at 2:30. And then yesterday, I did the Fort Chaplain ceremony with my American Legion Post 61 family. That was yesterday at 3 p.m.
A priest, a minister, and a rabbi. Sorry, that the story always, and just because of the way you told me, always like just triggers old bar jokes.
Yeah, it's an amazing.
It's an amazing story.
And we did that yesterday, and I'd like to get more people to come out to that. We had a few people, but not I guess a lot of people have more plans on their list Sunday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But I'd love to get some more people out for that next year, hopefully.
You know what? I bet we could fool a demographic of people to showing up to that. Next year, we just need to run a commercial that says, "The City of Roswell presents the 4 chaplains." Oh, yes, I'm the great pretender. People would show up and be like, wait, the 4 chaplains are going to be here?
We're taking a book out of Greendale's Green Day coming to.
That's right. You said you wanted Green Day. They're here. Folks, Scottish folk band, Green Day.
That's a community reference for those who don't get that.
That's a deep community reference. That's like middle of the season or middle of like the series community reference. Yeah. You have to be streets ahead to get that reference.
But some got it.
Oh yeah.
Some got it. Some were like laughing.
Oh yeah. For like 3 people, this show is everything. Mm-hmm. It has all the stuff.
Yep. It's like Seinfeld.
Yeah.
They just don't get it till 20 years later.
Just for those 3 people.
All right. It is 7:16. Let's get you up to date on the weather. Because apparently the National Weather Service Roswell page is being ornery this morning, so I had to go deep dive to dig for our weather. Here's our weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A little bit of low pressure moving through the area today, so we could get some cloud cover. Fairly mild, though. Our afternoon high will end up in the mid-60s. A few lingering clouds for the overnight hours, but clearing late. Our low drops to 30, and then we'll get a lot more sunshine on Tuesday and a little bit warmer. We're back in the low 70s, sunny and mid-70s coming up for Wednesday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. And currently 31 degrees here in Roswell. Let's see. Do I have the National Weather Service thing is not working right now, so I'm going to other sources. Humidity right now is at 36%. Winds currently out of the northwest at 4 miles per hour. For today, expect partly cloudy skies. Highs in the mid-60s, 65 today, with winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, looking at an overnight low of 34 degrees under cloudy skies. Winds will be light and variable. For you Tuesday, expect partly cloudy skies. High of 72 tomorrow when you go out to vote. Winds will be out of the southeast 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then tomorrow night, looking at an overnight low of 35 with a few clouds. Look at winds southeast at 5 to 10. Wednesday, sunny and 75 for a high. Southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, mainly cloudy but warm. High of 75 with winds out of the south 10 to 20 miles per hour. So a little breezy there. Friday, looking at highs near 80 but windy under mostly sunny skies. Winds will be out of the south-southwest 25 to 35. Gusting as high as 40 miles per hour. And then just glancing at the weekend, sunny and 71 on Saturday. West-southwest winds 10 to 20. Sunny and 66 Sunday with west-southwest winds 15 to 25 miles per hour. So a little bit of wind for the back half of the week, but warmer temperatures pretty much for most of it. We're going to be in the 70s for the most part all week here. All right, it is 7:18. Time to get you into Roswell Livestock Report with Smiley Wooten. We'll take a quick commercial break, and then we'll have Sarah East Brahman join us. Brahmana, I believe it is from Loveless Regional Hospital on the other side. Don't go away.
Good morning, this is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. A good end of February run this week with a nice selection of all classes of cattle, especially high-quality weaned native calves and light yearlings with condition. We expect to sell 1,350 head, breaking down like this: 50 to 75 weighing cows and bulls, 50 to 75 pairs bred cows, 1,250 calves and yearlings today's sale. Will include 15 bred heifers, E3 Cattle Company, Floyd, New Mexico, X-quality black white face, red white face Angus crosses, bred to Don Yoakum Agans bulls. 30 calves, Netherland Ranch, Artesia, New Mexico. Extra quality black, white face Angus crosses. Cattle weaned 30 days, 1 round of shots, 550 pounds. 28 calves, Mr. John Jackson down at Lake Arthur. Good quality black, white face Angus crosses. Cattle weaned 40 days, 2 rounds of shots, 600 pounds. 180 calves and light yearlings, CNR ranches down at Alamogordo, New Mexico. Excellent quality black, white face, red, white face English and Charolais crosses. Cattle weaned 120 plus days, 2 rounds of shots right off of grass. Thin condition, 650 pounds. 37 heifer calves, Mr. B.A. Corn here northwest of Roswell. Excellent quality black, white face Angus crosses. Cattle weaned 150 days, 2 rounds of shots. These cattle are broke, 700 pounds. 76 calves, La Cabra LLC at Albuquerque, New Mexico. Excellent quality black, white face Angus and Brangus crosses. Cattle weaned 90 days, 2 rounds of shots, 500 pounds. 108 calves, Gyp Hills Ranch, Wink, Texas. Excellent quality black, white face Angus and Brangus crosses and a few Charolais, 500 pounds. 45 calves and light yearlings, Mr. Bryce Duggar at Cuervo, New Mexico. Excellent quality black, white face Angus crosses. Cattle weaned 130 days, 2 rounds shots, 700 pounds, and 23 heifer calves, Mr. Paul Madrid at Bernalillo, New Mexico. Excellent quality black Angus cross heifers. Cattle weaned 60 days, 2 rounds of shots, 550 pounds. Sale time this morning be 9 o'clock. Sale stock cows, pairs, bred cows 9:30. Be selling calves and yearlings about 9:45. Real light on cows today, so don't be late. We expect to sell 1,350 head here today. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
Ed Heldenbrand, candidate for City Council. He's a patriot fighting against the waste of your tax dollars. As a CPA and Chief Financial Officer with over 35 years of experience, Ed understands the importance of managing budgets. By reducing the wasteful spending in the budget, we can lower your city water, sanitation costs, and work to reduce city fees. Roswell's potential is hurt by bad ideas and wasteful spending. Ed Hildebrand will never vote to shut down Roswell. He'll fight the job, education, and freedom-killing mandates from Santa Fe. It's important that taxpayers see improvements in our roads and city services to attract jobs, businesses, tourists, and to create environment for local businesses to thrive. In Ward 3, you have a choice. Vote Ed Heldenbrand, the conservative candidate. With your vote, we can build a better Roswell.
I'm Ed Heldenbrand, City Council candidate for Ward 3, asking for your vote on Tuesday, March 1st. It's not about me, it's about we, and I approve this message.
Where can you find the best selection of beautiful and unique home decor in the region? Easy, Casa Decor in Ruidoso. For years, people from all over have come to Casa Decor for the best selection of rustic, real wood furniture, beautiful decor from the Southwest and beyond, and quality outdoor furniture and accessories that are built to last a lifetime. At Casa Decor, they have over 10,000 square feet of showroom for everything you need. Casa Decor opens 7 days a week from 9:30 to 5 at 1214 Meacham Drive in Ruidoso or online at casadecorruidoso.com. Proud supporter of local high school sports.
Hi, Roswell. I'm Guy Malone, candidate for mayor. Welcome to my non-mudslinging political campaign ad. I want you to visit roswellguy.com to find out about all the good reasons you have to actually vote for someone, not vote against someone. Refreshing idea, hey? Well, I've got lots more where that came from. You know and I know that Roswell is destined for same stuff, different year if we don't vote for positive changes that bring Roswell's politics and economy into the 21st century. Malone for mayor, roswellguy.com.
Paid for by Guy Malone for Roswell. Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The ball on top of a flagpole is called a truck. Mess with your friends today by pointing at a flagpole and say, hey, check out the truck on top of that flagpole. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 23 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from Loveless Regional Hospital, we have their new family medicine provider, Sarah East, with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today? Thanks for spending some time with us.
Oh, really good. Bright and early.
Yeah, and I know this is probably because I think when you first get into the office, which is probably here pretty soon. Normally, you hit the ground running. So I know I appreciate this. Makes your day just a little bit longer. So I appreciate that.
No, it'll be good. Actually, I'm looking forward to it. Today is my first full day in the clinic of seeing full patients, and so I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay, good deal. So,
yeah.
So now, tell for folks, give a little. Her and I were talking. We actually chewed the same piece of ground together for a little bit there. She's from the Holloman area, so we were talking a little bit about that. But give folks a little bit of background here, just to where you're from and how you got into medicine.
Yeah, so born and raised at Holloman Air Force Base. My dad's Navy. My mom was a civilian at Holloman. And so I went to high school in Alamogordo. I did my undergraduate schooling in Las Cruces. So I have a bachelor's in microbiology with 4 minors. And then from Las Cruces, I moved on to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which is near Miami. And that's where I did my medical training at Nova Southeastern.
Nice.
So I graduated in 2009. And from there, my husband and I were, world's the limit. Where are we going to go? And we chose to come here to Roswell, New Mexico. And I've been here since then.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, see, the fact that you completed the doctor side of things in Fort Lauderdale means that you're very dedicated, because most people that go to school in Fort Lauderdale find out there's a lot of things to do in Fort Lauderdale, and schooling's not always one.
I know. No, it's a great vacation place, but you don't want to live there and raise a family. I'm going to put it that way.
But you were able to stay focused.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
Very cool. But I imagine that's got to be a change.
It was a big change.
From Alamogordo, New Mexico to Fort Lauderdale.
I haven't seen the ocean before then. When I got off the plane, I never knew what humidity was before.
Oh, yeah.
And, I come from wearing sweaters to going over there, and I was sweating at 8 in the morning.
Now you know what all the East Coasters complain about.
Yes.
When they talk about it's a dry heat, and they're like, okay.
Yeah. No, dry heat's much different.
It's like, no, I do like that dry heat.
Yeah.
But, well, very cool. So, So I imagine, were you... coming back here to New Mexico, is that something you wanted to do? Like, you were like, you know what, now that this is where I want to come back to my home, my part of the country here.
Family is here. And so my mom, was still here in New Mexico. My husband's family is still here. And so it just kind of made sense. Our focus was getting our careers going, raising a family. And so it was just the best opportunity for us to come back here.
Very good.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about, obviously your family practice. So that kind of jack of all trades here. You have to kind of, you see you're the front line, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And take care of most things. But if it's something that needs a specialist, then that's kind of what you do. You kind of come in and triage, what everyone's needs are as a family here. And then if they hope, most of it you can do yourself.
Yeah, I do a lot of things myself as well, especially after doing it for a while now. Just to give you a little bit of background, I started off originally in cardiology. Okay. And so I did that for 6 years. And then from there, I moved on to primary care. Now, I only do 18 and over. I don't do children. Okay. But I've been doing the primary care since then, and I love it. So I do multiple procedures. I can do all joint injections. I do Botox for migraines. I love all the procedures. So I try and, expand my what I can offer my services as best as I can.
Sure.
And because we're rural, specialty is a little bit more scarce here.
Absolutely.
And so I try and do as much as I can before I have to refer out.
That's something I was going to mention to you, because you growing up in Alamogordo, you're very familiar with that style of medicine. Yeah. But what most people consider rural areas here and things where we live at, yes, doctors have to be more of that jack of all trade, because there's basically you're covering more territory than say a city doctor would. And really, there's more people, more personnel. They can, all right, well, this is something more here. We're going to go here. They can kind of compartmentalize everything more. Where since there's not as many providers because it's a rural area, you come in and you just got to deal with, it could be a stubbed toe, it could be cancer, and something in between. You know what I mean?
Exactly. We do all of it.
So you gotta be a jack of all trades there. I know it's said 27 times, but that really is what it is.
It is. And that's what's nice about Loveless, is because, yes, we do have our clinic here in Roswell, but it's nice having the bigger system in Albuquerque where we do have all of those opportunities.
Sure.
And so it's really, I'm really happy to be part of the system, to be able to have that backing.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what made you decide to go from cardiology to general practice or primary medicine?
Really, it was just very simple. The doctor I was working with moved to Florida.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of one of those things like, okay, well, starting a new chapter now, and that's how it happens.
Okay, very good. You want to go back to Florida, I take it.
Yeah, I was like, are we all moving back to Florida? No, we stayed.
Good deal. I would imagine, though, that kind of, and this is really medical school, because, I mean, even as a family practice provider, you still, like you said, you see everything here, but because you're coming from a specialized field, too, that probably gives you a little bit more information than the average family practice would carry in cardiology, say, because you specialized in that prior to coming over. So,
yeah.
And I would imagine, too, you could probably even diagnose some stuff that some family practice providers would miss because that's not their expertise, or they would send on to another specialist to where you could maybe even cut out a step there, I'm thinking, Well,
most family practices have a general area that they're more interested in or, take a more liking to. So my partner in the Loveless Clinic is Dr. Joel.
Another great doctor. We've had him on, yeah.
Yeah, he is excellent. And, his passion is diabetes. And so every provider always has their main passion. And so my passion has always been cardiology. So you're absolutely right. From the cardio standpoint, I do tend to, focus a lot on that.
Sure.
Just as my passion. But, we are jack of all trades, so we do focus on everything.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. If you've got diabetes and need help with diabetes management, Sarah East can help you with all of that.
Yes, I can do all of it.
Well. But I would also say that because you guys talk and chit chat and things, I imagine you compare notes and talk about, and you're like, well, I got a patient with diabetes here, and Dr. Jules, like, I recommend you do this, this, and this, or you're having a conversation. Dr. Jules talking about, I got this cardio patient, and then you're like, you know what, I saw this before, and we did this, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You guys talk, and so you're really combining heads here sometimes on some of these things. So.
Well, we're a team, and actually a lot of the providers here in Roswell, despite which companies you work for, we are all a team. So we all tend to help each other. Just because it takes a village to raise a child. It's the same thing with helping patients, so we all kind of pick each other's brains.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, like right now, I mean, obviously we're COVID, everything's been going on here, people talking about that, but now that that's kind of dying down, we're seeing the masks and things, but I still want to remind people, and you better than you to do this, that, just because, we have the COVID world doesn't mean we don't have the regular things we always had, colds, flus, and I know we all get worried about COVID, but the things that we worried about pre-COVID aren't gone away, that haven't left. They're still here. So not everything is COVID, and you got to, protect and act accordingly for that too.
Yes. Like there's still sinus infections. There's still regular community-acquired pneumonia.
Yeah.
There's other things that can cause similar type symptoms, just allergies in general. We're a pecan land, area, and so everybody's allergic to the pecans. And so it's there. I do remind patients that just because the COVID test was negative doesn't mean that, it's nothing else. We have to test for other things too.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You take care of yourself, treat accordingly. But and vice versa. Just don't automatically assume everything's COVID.
Yeah.
That's why you get tested and, talk to your healthcare providers and get the real answers and the real treatments.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good deal. So I gotta ask, what do you like to do when you're not being a healthcare provider and do those kind of things? What do you do for fun when you get time off? I know it's not very often.
Yeah, when I get time off, well, my son plays sports, so I'm technically a sports mom.
Okay.
We're a baseball family, and then he's also taken a liking to basketball too. So originally I would just say I'm a baseball mom, but now I'm a basketball mom as well.
Okay.
And so I spend a lot of time at games. Of various sports, and then otherwise we like to travel. So if we can get out of town, we'll get out of town.
Very good.
Yeah.
Which is another one of those services you can provide, physicals and things for family members. And like you said, you deal with adults 18 over, but you still need the physicals. You still need those kind of things. So
yes,
you don't always have. People always just go to see a doctor when they're sick. You know? And I mean that.
Which I don't mind that.
It's like duh, but at the same time, medicine is advanced to a point now where much of it's the preventative side. Instead of just triaging and treating as we go, now medicine's taking that turn to preventative. And it's like, okay, that's why there's all these screenings and things now for, breast cancer, for colonoscopies, all the different milestones you hit when you hit in life here.
Yeah.
All those, and that's what we want to remind folks too. If you haven't been to a doctor in a while, maybe you should make an appointment. Even if you feel physically fine, let's do some lab work. Let's check your heart, check your joints, do all the things they do at a physical, just to make sure you're good to go again. And I know people, sometimes people hear that and it's like, oh, get away, and everything else. But really, that little trip there could save your life sometimes.
Yes, definitely. There's been a lot of times that a patient will come in just for a routine basic checkup, haven't been seen in a year or two, and we'll find something that is a surprise. And, sometimes it's easy to handle, other times it may not be. And it's one of those things, if you would come in just on a regular basis, we usually catch things early.
Sure.
And, 75% of my practice is preventive medicine. The other 25% would be, acute care. So it's very, very important on the preventative side. Sure. I like to do annual labs. I always like to do regular, I'll do a full physical exam. All the screenings, like you mentioned, is perfect. You actually hit that right on the nail. Very important to be coming in regularly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you guys, I'm just curious because is this more of an ER thing, or is it still a family practice where like kids come in because they broke their arm at soccer practice, or you come in? Is that still kind of medicine you do it in the family side, or is that more ER related stuff now?
Well, we do have the ER, and we also have SCORE Orthopedics, which is the ortho side of it for the broken arms. The clinic that I'm primarily in with Dr. Jewell is just more family practice, so it is the routine checkups and so forth. Obviously, we do take walk-ins occasionally, like for our patients, if you have an acute cold or anything along those lines. If you think if you fell and you think you broke something, obviously we can do x-rays and check it all.
Sure.
But the nice thing about, again, being tied to Loveless is we do have the hospital and we have ortho.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, where you do you're the provider, the main provider for these families. So you are that first line of defense. So, if it's something like that, they may come see you on it and say, okay, well, this is what you got going on. We're going to need to take you to here to get that fixed up, which fortunately is all right there in the Loveless,
vicinity
complex there. So, absolutely. So
and then the clinic is actually on Main Street, so it's right there across the street from Cattle Baron is where we're located.
Yeah, and then you go a couple blocks over to the main hospital and everything right there. You could if you didn't have a broken leg, you could walk there.
Yeah. No, we'll wheelchair you.
Just shoot you right across the highway. Just kidding. That would be pretty cool.
I'll try and run really fast.
Maybe we have a race day where you just maybe we got to get multiple over. We can just go, all right, let's go. Just kidding.
No, just kidding on that.
I got to ask you an important question, though.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure with the openings and things. Have you had a chance to eat in the Loveless Hospital cafeteria yet?
On my orientation day, I did.
Okay. Because that's kind of a thing around here. They have really good food at the Loveless Cafe. And unfortunately, not a lot of people have had a chance to enjoy it because of COVID over the last couple of years.
Right.
But that was a thing. Like, people would go to lunch at the hospital.
Yes.
Like, people, you know what I mean? Like, what are you going to the hospital for? For lunch.
For lunch.
What do you got, a doctor? No. I'm just going to have lunch.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, I had a chicken sandwich when I was around orientation. It was excellent.
Nice. So, if you get a chance, the breakfast burritos are delightful. So come in
thanks
for a
the heads
breakfast
up.
burrito. Whether you want to go spicy, I mean, you've got New Mexico in your blood, so you're fine on the green chili thing. You know?
Yeah, but don't be fooled. I'm still a weakling in it.
Yeah, but you were born into it, so there's automatically a certain level you're just at, and then you'll build up accordingly. But
I'm pretty sure my son can handle more spicier things than I can, though.
Yeah. Was your husband a spicy food connoisseur?
Oh yes, he can handle all of it.
Okay, is he from here?
So he moved here when he was 15.
Okay.
However, we didn't meet until our undergraduate in Las Cruces at New Mexico State.
Oh,
so he did his undergrad there too, and that's where we ended up meeting. And then he moved with me to Florida, and then we moved back here together.
Okay. So what does he do for a living?
So it's okay. He's a CFO for a solar business here in town.
Okay.
Yeah. So he does solar for residencies.
So in need be, he can go where you need to be because everyone needs a chief financial officer at some point.
Yes. Yeah. He's all on the accounting side. So he manages that. He just tells me how much I can spend and we go from there.
And you tell him how much he can eat and when he can stop,
exactly.
Right? lay off that hot dog, bud.
We balance each other out.
He's like, no, you can't buy that. You're like, you can't eat that corn dog.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we're successful.
So, I mean, as far as, being here in New Mexico, do you guys like to, I know you said you spend most of your time with doing the kids and sports and things, but do you guys love doing outdoor stuff and things? I mean, going in the mountain, we're in
the best location because you go 1 hour west and you're in Ruidoso with the mountains. You know, we can go to Lubbock the other direction and go shopping of wherever you want to do. And the nice thing about it, we have our own airport, which luckily we can fly to Phoenix and Dallas now. Absolutely. And so it's really convenient. We like this area a lot.
And I imagine, are both y'all's families in New Mexico?
Yes.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. So like holidays and things, you can almost... everyone meet together if everybody gets along, it's another story.
No, they do.
I've seen 4 Christmases and all those movies. I know how families sometimes act during Christmas. But, yeah, that's awesome.
No, it's good. We like it here, and, I've built up a great patient load. I'm really thankful for my patients. After 13 years of practicing here, it is a small town, so reputation precedes you, and I've been really fortunate to have the patients that I have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's good, and, I'm fortunate to be part of the Loveless system now, and I'm excited to move forward.
So let me ask, in like you said, you've done a lot of your stuff here, but you've had training in Florida. What's common ground for us here? Like a given day, is it atypical wherever you go? Is like whatever region of the country you're in, as far as the types of cases and things you're seeing, or do you see some stuff that's unique to New Mexico that's not that you don't see at other places, or is it all the same?
I mean, in general, it's all the same. I mean, humans are humans, so we all have, cardio issues, pulmonary issues, etc. Something that was more unique to the area I lived in Florida is it was one of the highest HIV areas.
Interesting.
And so a lot of it was more tailored to HIV treatment.
Okay.
Versus that's a little bit less common here. And so as far as what's specific to New Mexico, our diet and obesity is a big factor that leads to diabetes. We're not as active here. Versus in Miami, people tend to be a little bit more active. And so it's
our hot's different hot. We go inside hot. They're hot. They go surfing.
Yes, exactly. So, to answer your question, there are, every region does have more specific disorders per that region, but in general, medicine is medicine. We're all humans.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I got to ask, since you, like you say, you dealt with a lot of HIV patients in Florida.
Yeah.
I'm 48. I kind of grew up younger, and I remember the AIDS outbreak, and that was a death sentence and things like that. And then, then over time, now, people get HIV and they live full lives and things. I mean, is the I'm just curious, because I'm one of those people who's just like, it's going to kill you. Oh, we're okay now. And I kind of, I grew up in an era, I just missed what happened in the middle there on some of that. I mean, is that really the case now where, you get HIV, you can pretty much prevent someone from getting full-blown AIDS.
Correct.
Almost an entire normal lifespan, right?
Yes. Yeah. Medical advances have been huge in all fields of medicine.
Yeah.
So we can cure hepatitis C for certain strains of hepatitis C. HIV has multiple antivirals that treat it now. So, it's keeping it at bay, keeping your viral load low. It's very huge medical advances over the last several years.
Yeah. So...
I mean, just think about even from the cardio standpoint, we can do valve replacements without opening up your chest.
Gotcha.
It's huge medical advances.
So and this is me, Jewy, curious. Once someone advances to the stage of AIDS, is there still ways to suppress it at that point, or is that when it starts to be the final stages?
Once you get to the actual AIDS stage, it is a little bit harder to suppress. But again, it's about keeping it at bay, trying to manage it.
But still, it's not like, okay, you got it, you've got months or days to live now.
But put it in comparison to when we first learned about what COVID was. So in March of 2020, we thought if you got COVID, it was a death sentence. Now we're 2 years later, we realize there's treatments for it. Patients do get sick from it, but they'll go to the hospital and, hopefully the medicine works and takes care of them.
Something to manage their lives with.
Something that's more manageable. And so it's just about medical advances. It's learning from it. It's, doing studies. It's science.
Yeah.
And so as long as we just keep up with our science, you'll be good.
It was just one of those things that it was very much in the public eye.
Yeah.
And then it kind of, once science started getting ahead of it, it didn't get sexy, make the headlines anymore. So we kind of, I, as someone who lived there, I kind of like, well, what happened? I mean, now, we heard about Magic Johnson beating it, and then that we were like, oh, well, I guess AIDS is cured, move on with our lives, and that was kind of how it in a big physicality thing it seemed to us. So I was just kind of, when you said that, I was like, I'm curious. He's like, I just hear that, and I just had an opportunity. I was like, I'm curious about that.
No, it's a good question. No, it's just medical advances. It goes along with everything. With every field of medicine there's a ton of advances that occur. So, scientists are doing their job.
So let me ask this. We're about out of time here, but I do want to ask one more medical question.
Sure.
Here. If you could give a piece of advice to people living here in New Mexico, if you did, they always say, if you did this and today, you'd be a lot better off. Is there any golden rule or anything, like if you did just this thing around here, you wouldn't have to see me as often? Is there any of those kind of tips or any information that you'd like to, give to people about that kind of stuff?
Yeah. It's going to be literally what you hear 1,000 times a day. It all comes down to diet. If we can just control our eating and the fats and the carbs, the sugars, if you can control that, you will see me less often.
Gotcha.
Blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, all of it comes down to diet.
Yeah, and it's tough.
Yeah, it all starts
really
in the
tough.
kitchen.
You get there and, you see your pizza or whatever, and you're like, oh, man. But here's the thing. If you get diagnosed with diabetes and those kind of things, there's lots of resources. Loveless can help you with that. Even setting you up in meeting and talking with specialists that can help plan some of the things we're talking about here. Because people get that sentence of saying, or diagnosis of saying, you know what, you've got diabetes. They treat it like a death sentence, and they think, great, I'm going to eat rice cakes for the rest of my life, or so much for a carb ever again. And you're like, no, it's about moderation. It's about treating and creating the things you love, but in healthier ways.
Exactly.
And there's a lot, and they're not all perfect, but a lot of them are pretty good. Like the pizza lovers out there, they can do a lot with pizza now that really mitigates the carbs and the sugars and some of the things that are bad for people with diabetes. They can do that, and that's where there's light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. So.
Yes.
Of course, if you're looking for a healthcare provider and need someone here, you can always visit her office. Like she said, it's on North Main, 1112 North Main Street. If you'd like to schedule an appointment or have any questions, you can always call 575-627-4200.
Yes.
And then maybe one day if you come in early enough, swing by, grab a burrito at the Loveless restaurant cafeteria there, and bring it with you and give it to her and say, hey, I don't know if you had one of these yet, but
we'll give it a try.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll just cut the tortilla in half though.
There you go. Now, if it's for diabetes, you're not going to butter her up. No, it ain't going to work. But Sarah, is there anything you wanted to share? Anything we didn't get a chance to talk about that you wanted to make sure we got out there?
Just basically reiterating, I am accepting new patients. I have a great patient following that has, followed me over the years here being in New Mexico and Roswell specifically.
So
come on over. And like I said, I do try and do most of the things myself. I can do multiple procedures if you have any skin lesions, joint issues, migraines, etc.
Do you know I figure with Southeast New Mexico and the sun and the heat, you probably do a lot of skin-related issues, don't you?
Yeah, so we can do biopsies and, cryo and things of that sort. So, again, I try and will help you as much as I can in the office before we have to send out.
Yeah, wear sunscreen and wear a hat if you're follically challenged like myself.
Yes.
Well, Sarah, thank you very much for spending time with us, and really do appreciate it. And I'd love to have you back anytime as your work schedule allows that.
Very good. Thank you for the invitation.
Awesome. Thank you, and have an awesome day. We'll see you next time.
Okay.
All right. It is 7:48. Don't forget, you can stop by her office, 1112 North Main Street here in Roswell, or call, which is probably the best way to go if you're not feeling well. Schedule an appointment, 575-627-4200. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. It is 7:48. Time for some news. Don't go away. We'll be back.
Now for your Pecos Valley News Update, I'm Jared Cirillo. This is a special year for the Roswell UFO Festival And the City of Roswell is welcoming vendors and sponsors to be a part of the annual event that attracts visitors from all over the world. The annual Destination Festival will be July 1st through 3rd and will include plenty of immersive experiences, live music, local food, out-of-this-world photo ops, and other family-friendly events. Vendors who would like a spot at the festival to showcase their wares and services can find the online information and application at ufofestival.com/vendors. Also, a reminder, Tuesday is Election Day in many places, including Artesia. You can vote from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Faith Baptist Church at 402 South 20th Street or the Artesia Senior Center, 202 West Chisholm. If you have any questions, you can, of course, call the City Clerk's office at 746-2122. You're up to date. Local news headlines. I'm Jared Sorello.
Russia's unlawful Ukraine invasion is not only a hot war with tanks and airstrikes, it's also triggering the world's first cryptocurrency war. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. Post a job for free and find qualified candidates quickly at linkedin.com/Kim. This past Friday morning, Anonymous, the global hacker collective, started pooling its resources to support Ukraine against Russia. They've taken down several important Russian websites. And on another cyber front, Western cryptocurrency activists are raising money for Ukraine. One anonymous Ukrainian IT professional has collected more than $500,000 in untraceable cryptocurrency donations for the Ukrainian army. This is something new. Populist non-government combatants engaging in a cyber war of their own. Remember, cryptocurrency has no central controller. And just as these people are working for the good, cryptocurrency can also be used by Russia to evade sanctions. Clearly, we are in uncharted waters. Learn more at commando.com.
Have you ever wanted to know what's happening at home when you're not there? I'm a big fan of SimpliSafe's new wireless outdoor camera. It lets you see what's happening outside right from your phone and alerts you when anyone approaches, so you always know who's there. This brand new camera is engineered with all the advanced tech and security features you want and need to help keep you and your family safe. SimpliSafe has everything you need, from entry and motion sensors to indoor and outdoor cameras. SimpliSafe is monitored 24/7 by professionals ready to dispatch police, firefighters, or EMTs to your home. SimpliSafe is less than $1 a day, and you can set it up in around 30 minutes. There are no long-term contracts or commitments. You can customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafekim.com. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera, plus 20% off with interactive monitoring. Go to simplysafekim.com, simplysafekim.com.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A little bit of low pressure moving through the area today, so we could get some cloud cover. Fairly mild, though. Our afternoon high will end up in the mid-60s. A few lingering clouds for the overnight hours, but clearing late. Our low drops to 30, and then we'll get a lot more sunshine on Tuesday and a little bit warmer. We're back in the low 70s, sunny and mid-70s coming up for Wednesday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. Countries around the world are imposing more financial punishment on Moscow, including the European Union's approval of an asset freeze on Russian President Vladimir Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. The EU's unanimous decision, part of a broader sanctions package, indicated that Western powers are moving toward unprecedented measures to try to force Putin to stop the brutal invasion of Russia's neighbor and from unleashing a major war in Europe. Drug maker Johnson & Johnson and three major distributors finalized nationwide settlements over their role in the opioid addiction crisis Friday, an announcement that clears the way for $26 billion to flow to nearly every state and local government in the U.S. On Wall Street, the Dow up 835 points, the Nasdaq up 221, and the S&P 500 rose 96 points. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
It's time for the Chaves County Sports Reports. Let's give you the schedule for the state basketball tournaments, at least for the big schools today. We've got the tournament starting on Friday for the girls and Saturday for the boys, the first round, and all of these round of 16s will be at home sites. So for the Goddard girls, they're the 10th seed. They'll be playing at number 7 Moriarty on Friday night. Goddard's 15-12 after losing in the district championship to Portales 58-45 on Friday. The Goddard boys, meanwhile, will be taking a trip in the same general direction. They'll be going to play at Albuquerque Academy. That'll be Saturday. Goddard is the 12th seed. Academy is the 5th seed. You may remember that Goddard fell in the district tournament at home to Lovington, so I've got another chance for some more success. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
I'm Alicia Gilmore, candidate for City Council Ward 4. I'm a proud citizen of Roswell, and I want to see our community grow. That starts with the focus on growing our economy, reducing crime, and focusing on infrastructure. Roswell is our home, and for too long, problems like crime, road conditions, and economic stagnancy have plagued Roswell's growth. I want to make it my focus to bring attention to these issues and to make Roswell a better place for all of our families. I'm Alicia Gilmore, asking for your vote for Ward 4 on March 1st, and I approve this message.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too, and that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more. When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it. We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors. Whether they are in the mountains of New Mexico, the plains of Nebraska and Kansas, the ranches of Oklahoma and Texas, the farmlands of Missouri and Arkansas, or the bayous of Louisiana, we are here for our hometowns. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the New Mexico Army National Guard. Aired by the New Mexico Broadcasters Association and this station.
Honey, did you see the story in the Roswell paper recently about how Dennis Kintai and the city council want to spend $61 million on new baseball fields?
Yep, talk about out-of-control spending.
Yeah, they say it's a field of dreams, more like field of debt.
Definitely. Kintai and the council don't have their priorities straight. Remember, they wanted to spend $35 million on a new public safety complex. Thank goodness over 80% of voters rejected that boondoggle.
And meanwhile, crime has gone up drastically over Kintai's last 4 years in charge.
Yeah, and Roswell's roads are a mess. Have you seen the sorry state that streets like North Garden are in? Potholes everywhere.
That's why we need Tim Jennings for mayor. Tim will control spending, hire more police officers, and fix our roads.
Let's send a message to City Hall that Roswell can't afford to spend $61 million on building new baseball fields. Vote Tim Jennings for mayor.
Paid for by Tim Jennings for mayor.
Roswell Skin Center, a brand new state-of-the-art facility located in the 400 Penn Plaza building here in Roswell, is now accepting new patients. Dr. Brandon Cometti and his team offer a full range of skin care services, including general dermatology, surgical and cosmetic procedures, including cutting-edge laser rejuvenation, Botox, filler, laser hair removal, chemical peels, and other non-invasive options to improve skin health and turn back the hands of time. Call and schedule your appointment at Roswell Skin Center today, 208-2509. That's 208-2509.
Ed Heldenbrand, candidate for City Council. He's a patriot fighting against the waste of your tax dollars. As a CPA and Chief Financial Officer with over 35 years of experience, Ed understands the importance of managing budgets. By reducing the wasteful spending in the budget, we can lower your city water, sanitation costs, and work to reduce city fees. Roswell's potential is hurt by bad ideas and wasteful spending. Ed Hildebrand will never vote to shut down Roswell. He'll fight the job, education, and freedom-killing mandates from Santa Fe. It's important that taxpayers see improvements in our roads and city services to attract jobs, businesses, tourists, and to create an environment for local businesses to thrive. In Ward 3, you have a choice. Vote Ed Heldenbrand, the conservative candidate. With your vote, we can build a better Roswell.
I'm Ed Heldenbrand, City Council candidate for Ward 3, asking for your vote on Tuesday, March 1st. It's not about me, it's about we, and I approve this message.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Slugs have 4 noses, but no fingers to pick them. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 7:58, about time for some town hall news here in just a minute. Stay tuned next hour, about 8:15 or so. We'll have City Councilor Ward 1, representing Ward 1, Jacob Roebuck, join us. And he's not running for a second term. He's going to finish up his term as city councilor here after these elections. But he wanted to join us, set the record straight, some stuff that's been going on during this municipal election cycle here, and chit-chat with us. So we'll give the floor to Jacob next hour. That's what we got planned there. Of course, you do have one more weekend to check out the Roswell Community Little Theater's play for Old Broads. You got this Friday night, Saturday night, 7:30 p.m., and then Sunday afternoon at 2:30. I got a chance to check out the play this weekend. Great play. Tickets are only $10 a piece, and they're available online at roswelltheater.com. You can get them in advance, and make sure you spell theater Theatre. Or you can get tickets at the door. I walked right up, got tickets, but get there, because I'm telling you, there was about full house Saturday night. So I got there about 30 minutes early, so I got a ticket, no problem. But I got a feeling you roll up around curtains open, it's slim pickings on the seat in there. So get your tickets in advance, roswelltheater.com, Theatre, and go out there and support. It's great plays. I laugh out loud funny, a lot of fun. Great date night for folks. All right, it's closing in on 8 o'clock. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, or Roswell, New Mexico. We'll be back on the other side of Town Hall News. Don't go away.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. One Ukrainian says of Vladimir Putin, he's just crazy, and some in the West seem inclined to agree, given Putin's war in Ukraine, his nuclear threat, and the way he has threatened the rest of the world. As the war grinds on, it appears the Ukrainians putting up more of a fight than Putin bargained for. U.S. officials believe the invasion has been more difficult and slower than the Kremlin envisioned. The BBC's James Waterhouse in the Ukrainian capital.
The fifth night of this invasion has seen more Russian shells fall on Ukrainian cities. From the center of Kiev, there were sounds of explosions in the distance and more howls of air raid sirens. Alerts have been announced in 4 cities, including Dnipro and Kharkiv, after intense fighting there in the streets yesterday. In the north, Chernihiv was shelled all night too. An apartment building and nursery were hit, but there's only been one reported injury. However, there are reports Belarus is preparing to send its own troops in. Its autocratic government also passed a vote which would allow Russia to base its nuclear weapons there.
And the U.S. terming Putin's nuclear threats unacceptable.
Putin's order to put Russia's nuclear weapons on high alert is being condemned by the U.S. and NATO. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, told CBS's Face the Nation that Putin's actions were unacceptable. At the Pentagon, a senior defense official described Putin's nuclear order as an escalation, and the White House said Russia was responding to an imaginary threat. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Stepped up Western sanctions starting to bite. The ruble has plunged to record lows against the dollar, and Russia's central bank has hiked its benchmark rate to 20%. The U.S. announcing sanctions targeting the central bank, and now Switzerland's president says that country will join in the EU sanctions. Wall Street stocks are sharply lower. The Dow down 387 points, and NASDAQ is off 31. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hi, I'm cute kid number 1. And I'm cute kid number 2. And we have been forced, you mean hired? We have been hired to tell you what direct lender FOMO is. So let's say you buy a new home, and maybe you use one of those big mortgage monsters. Or someone your realtor or friend recommends. And then a few months later, you hear us being forced, hired to tell you about our mortgage team's direct lender advantage. And then you feel like you missed out, because you probably did miss out. And that is direct lender FOMO.
It's Ryan, and our mortgage team is an arm of a bigger company who is a direct lender, which means our company gets to use its own money and make its own decisions within its own walls. There's no middleman. This often allows us to get you a better rate on that new home mortgage, saving you monthly and lifelong money. We are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Middle Park Road, Melville, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1330. Ryan Brack, NMLS number 65233. Equal housing lender. Licensed in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, Massachusetts, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
Former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe suggests his country consider allowing the U.S. to base nuclear weapons in Japan. The BBC's Rupert Wingfield-Hayes in Tokyo.
Basically, this is one of Japan's biggest taboos. But Mr. Abe said such a taboo should not be allowed to prevent discussion of the reality that Japan now faces. With Russian tanks now advancing on Kiev, Mr. Abe said it's also time for President Biden to abandon America's policy of not saying whether it would or would not defend Taiwan against Chinese attack. Mr. Abe said it's time for America to be clear with Beijing that it would defend the island, which lies just 110 kilometers from Japan's southernmost boundary.
More saber rattling from North Korea. Now, Pyongyang claims to have tested cameras that it says would be installed on a spy satellite. News and analysis at townhall.com. Israeli tech company NSO Group filing a libel suit against a newspaper.
The suit comes after a series of articles claiming Israeli police used its spyware on dozens of public figures. Now, these articles by the Israeli business newspaper Calculus, published recently, triggered an uproar. A probe into the reports found no indication of abuse. The NSO suit seeks $310,000 that it says would be donated to charity. NSO spyware Pegasus is a powerful tool that allows its operator to infiltrate a target's phone and sweep up its contents. Jason Walker reporting.
The average price of a gallon of regular gas up 10 cents over the past 2 weeks across the U.S. is now $3.64 per gallon. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The Deuce.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday.
Yeah.
Welcome to it. Hope it's a good one for you so far.
Oh, here in these parts, yeah.
Yeah.
There's other parts of the world that, it's a little rough Monday.
Yes.
I mean, good gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy watching all the coverage on TV. Isn't it?
Try to go off and enjoy a weekend, and it's just, Luckily, I cut the cord a long time ago, so I don't have, like, cable, and I had my kids this weekend, so I was treated to mostly the goings-on of a family of blue healers from Australia called Bluey.
Okay.
Yeah, that was most of my weekend.
All right. Cartoon, or is that
It's a cartoon, yeah.
Okay.
That and, spending time watching YouTube videos on my phone. All the kids watch their thing.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Good dad.
It's a good distraction. It keeps your mind off of the rest of the nonsense.
I'm caught up on Pam and Tommy.
Are you?
Yeah, on Hulu. They got one more episode that releases, I think, tomorrow.
You know what I did watch? Actually, I'm glad we started talking about this because I watched a documentary on HBO Max called Beanie Mania.
The Beanie Babies?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, this is why it's such a big deal, because my mom was obsessed with Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
I mean, as most moms of that generation were.
Now, I've watched the Dark Side of the 90s episode that covers Beanie Babies.
So I
wonder how much of the
this documentary,
the same.
it's a lot of it is similar, but it also kind of goes into more of the goings on of the Thai corporation. You kind of discover, like, you know how every Beanie Baby has, like, the little poem written on, like, the ear tag?
I'll take your word for it, but yeah.
Yeah.
I never owned one.
There was a lady who was pretty much responsible for writing every single one of those poems.
Oh.
And she got like nothing for it.
No?
Yeah. Like she was barely even known, and it came out in this documentary. But the reason I bring it up is because there were certain ones growing up that I remember that were my favorites. My mom, she always would buy whenever she went to her Hallmarks or wherever.
Yeah.
So we had Beanie Babies. My personal favorite was the little red bull, because I was a Chicago Bulls fan growing up. So the little red bull called Snort. Okay. That was it was a Red Bull. So I started just randomly looking up online values today, current values of Beanie Babies. Okay. And what I found, first of all, blew my mind. But then what happened next really screwed me up. Okay. So I Googled Snort, because Snort was the one I loved.
Okay.
It's available in some places for like $150, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Etsy, different places. The original's in good condition. $18,200 to $28,538 for this Beanie Baby.
Who's paying that, though?
They're not. That's the valuation. So then they started talking about the Princess Diana bear.
Okay.
Arguably the most famous of the Beanie Babies.
Okay.
That was at the time, that was like the peak Beanie Baby fandom. Right when Princess Diana passed away, Ty put out this purple bear with the rose, the white rose, and it was huge. It was a big deal. And so I Googled just random values of the Princess Diana bear. You can find it online. In a lot of places, it's valued around $1,800, $1,855.
Okay.
So what happened next really blew my mind, because we're sitting there watching this documentary. Rhiannon's sitting next to me because she was kind of interested in, the plushies and all that. Yeah. And she loves the new Beanie Boos that they put out. So she sees this whole Princess Diana thing. She runs into her room. She goes, "You mean this? My daughter has a Princess Diana Beanie Baby in not good condition because it's been played with and messed up over the years."
That's what really happens to these toys.
Right. I had no idea that she had this. So I texted her mom. I'm like, "Did you know that Rhiannon has a Princess Diana Beanie Baby?" And she had no idea either.
Yeah.
So neither one of us have any idea where my daughter came up with this ultra rare Beanie Baby that's valued at like $1,800.
You didn't buy it by just
maybe in like a box. She's gotten random boxes and bags of like stuffed animals and toys from friends over the years.
Maybe that was in there.
Don't know what you got till it's gone, I guess. But man, that blew my mind when she ran into her room and pulled out what I can only value is a Princess Diana.
Is there
bear.
any kind of value to this thing left?
Not really, because obviously it's been played with. There's I could probably bring it back to a decent condition, but there's no ear tag. One of the first, and this is one of the things that infuriates me about my kid, and I get it because she's a kid, but one of the first things she does with her beanies is she'll tear the ear tags off.
Yeah.
Like, but no, because my mom used to go out and buy special plastic tag covers
for her
beanie. Oh yeah, dude. It was that, and then the little plastic cubes, little shadow boxes. Essentially, we have somewhere in my mom's, because she has a second house that's just for storage. So somewhere in that house is just.
Is your mom like a hoarder?
Have you met my mom?
I have, but I've never been in her.
Oh, don't
in her living
don't
space.
Don't ever. There's a reason that my mom is the historian of the family. It's because it's all there.
Okay.
Somewhere in her second house is all these Beanie Babies, some of which still in plastic acrylic containers with the ear tags.
Why doesn't she sell them?
Because it's just.
There's value.
My
to
mom
them.
is the Ron Popeil of hoarding. She sets it and then forgets it.
But I'm just saying, if there's like thousands of dollars in value in these things, get it while there's value.
Again,
I can't imagine that's going to stay forever.
That's the seller's market. Who's out there buying Beanie Babies? It's just kind of one of those things that she has.
Yeah. But I mean, throw them up there. Who knows? Maybe one day somebody rolls through and says, "I'll give you $200,000 for that," or whatever it is.
100%. Yeah. But I had to text my mom. I'm like, "You still have my old Snort, like my old Beanie Baby from back?" She's like, "I probably do. Give me a few days to see if I can find it." So, who knows? I might be retiring, or at least for a year, just quitting for a year and going to like Europe or something. Europe.
Just cash in a Beanie Baby, kind of like a crypto. I'll cash in a couple Beanie Babies.
What was that? Did you ever see Blast from the Past? The movie Blast with Brendan Fraser.
Uh-huh.
He's like, "I'll just cash in a stock certificate and we'll make it happen." That was his whole thing. He just had a bunch of baseball cards. That's what it was. He had like a box of like super ultra rare baseball cards.
Yeah, they were not rare when he came from, and then he brought them here. Now they're rare. That's the way to do it. You got to go back in time and get these things.
Cash in one of my Larry Yogi Berras.
Go roll in around 1982 and buy up all them Star Wars toys, and then just And then,
dude, if anybody out there still has one of those like old Kennard cards from like, Star Wars toys coming
like
soon,
79 or whatever. Yeah.
When the Kennard Corporation pulled the alcoholic father move of giving every kid an IOU for Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, I got to sit and spin. Yeah.
Pet hit close to home. Sorry.
Yeah, that was a legit thing. Because Star Wars came out in 77. So they didn't realize that the toy thing, that's kind of got the toy line got big. So Kenner, like you said, oh yeah, but they were behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
So that first Christmas, and I believe it was 78, they didn't have any of the products. So literally they gave a bunch of IOUs out to people to put under the tree.
Hotline coming soon. What I do remember about those is because, and again, I had like secondhand versions of them that I got from like yard sales or whatever. What I remember distinctly about those toys was the amount of articulation in them. Like you could you could really get your Chewbacca moved around a little bit, like his arms and legs, and
it didn't have any wrist movement.
Yeah, that was the thing. The ones I had wrist movements, and they also had. And this was
because the original ones did. And they had the lightsaber slide out.
This might have been a different generation, but did yours have the rubber legs when like they would get kind of loose and you could just like shake your guys? And
no, mine were all hard plastic with little holes in the feet.
Okay,
and then the arms moved at the elbow and the shoulder, but that was it. And then they had a lightsaber.
Which ones did I have? Because I had the one with the saber in the arm.
Yeah,
I remember
the ones
that
carried lightsabers.
Yeah,
had that little slide out deal.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because that's when the saber in the arm is. I remember that one like distinctly.
Yeah.
But
anyway, that's what you got to do. But I didn't know there's still value for Beanie Babies. I thought that market crashed.
Here's the thing. I think that it crashed, but I think that the nostalgia market is bringing it back.
Oh, okay.
I think a lot of people are looking at kind of things that lost value. Like I'll give you an example. The Power Glove. Do you remember the NES Power Glove?
Yeah, it was a big piece of garbage.
It was a big hunk of garbage.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It featured in a movie, The Wizard, and it looked really friggin' cool. Like, as a kid of the 80s who loved buttons and switches and, like stuff that did stuff,
yeah.
I was a nerd. Am a nerd. And I loved the idea. And my friend had a Power Glove.
Well, did you, HBO, over this last holiday season, they put out a movie on HBO Max with I
didn't see it, but I heard about it.
I saw it. It's what's his name?
Neil Patrick Harris, wasn't it?
MPH. Yes, he was the main character in it. But it's called 8-Bit Christmas,
right?
And the Power Glove is featured in that. That is very much featured,
right?
But it's think of it as an 80s version of the Christmas Story. That's kind of what it's like. It's like the Christmas Story is what does that take place? 70s, 60s, whenever that's supposed to take.
I think it was like the 60s.
Think of 8-Bit Christmas as a kind of an 80s version of
which, if you think about it, that movie was based in the 60s, came out in the 80s. This movie's based in the 80s, came out in the 2000s, 2020s, whatever. So it's 40 years that's really passed.
So you 90s kids, look for your movie next year.
Come on, about a decade from now. Yeah, that's when 90s nostalgia is really going to hit peak. But yeah, no, like mine was the movie Blank Check when I was a kid.
I remember that.
The kid, when he got $1 million, and he made $1 million stretch 4. But the room that he set up with like all these like really cool VR arcade setups and like big boxing ring, that was like my dream room growing up. I wanted to slide out of my room that would get me to outside.
Well, did you ever get that?
No.
Well, you're an adult now. You can build that if you want.
Yeah, it's not my budget.
No one's stopping you.
It's kind of hard to work that in when you got rent, utilities. The adult slide market is sorely lacking. I feel like I need to do some expanding.
While you're digging up your Beanie Babies, work on that and see if you can resurge it.
Let's cash in one Beanie Baby, make it happen. Cash in a snort.
Perfect. It is 17 minutes after 8 o'clock. Jacob Roebuck, City Councilor, Ward 1, is going to join us here in just a little bit. Before we do that, let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather. Hold on, I got to do a computer thing that I just caught, and I need to fix on the fly. There it is. Here's your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A little bit of low pressure moving through the area today, so we could get some cloud cover. Fairly mild, though. Our afternoon high will end up in the mid-60s. A few lingering clouds for the overnight hours, but clearing late. Our low drops to 30, and then we'll get a lot more sunshine on Tuesday and a little bit warmer. We're back in the low 70s, sunny and mid-70s coming up for Wednesday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 35 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 31%. Winds are currently out of the northwest at 5 miles per hour. Really a warm week today. Mostly cloudy today with a high of 67. Winds will be out of the west at around 5 miles per hour. Mostly cloudy tonight as well with an overnight low of 32. South winds at around 5 miles per hour. We're going to be in the 70s for pretty much the rest of the week. Tuesday, tomorrow, partly cloudy, a high of 72. Winds will be out of the southeast at around 5 miles per hour tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night, cloudy, partly cloudy with an overnight low of 34. South winds at around 5 miles per hour. Wednesday, sunny and 75. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, and Thursday, Friday, I think we're getting little winds. They're not mentioning on the National Weather Service, but I saw it earlier on KOBs that we could see some wind for the later part of the week. But still warm temperatures, 76 and partly cloudy on Thursday. Friday, mostly sunny and windy with a high near 80. And then we'll be back in the low 70s on Saturday, 73 and sunny and 70 on Sunday. So today really the coolest day of the week, and it's still pretty nice. So no complaints there. All right. It is 19 minutes after 8. We got a 3.5-minute commercial break to take care of. We'll do that right now, and then we'll have City Councilor representing Ward 1, Jacob Roebuck, join us on the other side here. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Hi, Roswell. I'm Guy Malone, candidate for mayor. Welcome to my non-mudslinging political campaign ad. I want you to visit roswellguy.com to find out about all the good reasons you have to actually vote for someone, not vote against someone. Refreshing idea, hey? Well, I've got lots more where that came from. You know and I know that Roswell is destined for same stuff, different year if we don't vote for positive changes that bring Roswell's politics and economy into the 21st century. Malone for mayor, roswellguy.com. Paid for by Guy Malone for Roswell.
At LaGrone Funeral Chapel, we believe that every funeral should be a reflection of the life it honors. The joys, the triumphs, the faith, the family, and so much more. For us, no detail is too small, no request too big. This is Rosa Aguilar. When the time comes to choose a funeral home, we hope you'll let us serve your family. At LaGrone Funeral Chapel and Crematory, we make it personal.
Juliana Halverson is committed to Roswell. She wants to improve our public facilities while keeping our taxes down, attract more business to Roswell, and she wants our city to be safe. People say a lot of things to get elected. With over 35 years of community service, Juliana Halverson has the experience to get it done. Let's elect someone that has a proven commitment to our community. On March 1st, vote Juliana Halverson, City Council, Ward 2.
I'm Juliana Halverson, and I approve this message.
Get Second Amendment savings now through the end of March at LGS Guns and Ammo. The authority for everything guns and ammo in Southeast New Mexico is having their annual high caliber tax refund sale. Save up to 15% on all accessories, 10% on all guns store-wide, and 15% off all Liberty safes. The annual high-caliber tax refund sale is on now at LGS Guns and Ammo, Southeastern New Mexico's authority for guns and ammunition, across from Target and Roswell, and at 109 North Del Paso in Hobbs. There's a whole universe out there. Come explore at the International UFO Museum and Research Center, featuring engaging exhibits and in-depth first-hand accounts of the incident that put Roswell on the map. The research library features the most comprehensive collection of UFO research materials in the world, and you can get exclusive one-of-a-kind gifts and merch from the gift shop or online at roswellufomuseum.com. Don't forget about the UFO Festival, July 1st through 3rd, celebrating the 75th anniversary of the Roswell incident. The International UFO Museum and Research Center. It's otherworldly.
Honey, did you see the story in the Roswell paper recently about how Dennis Kintai and the city council want to spend $61 million on new baseball fields?
Yep, talk about out-of-control spending.
Yeah, they say it's a field of dreams, more like field of debt.
Definitely. Kintai and the council don't have their priorities straight. Remember, they wanted to spend $35 million on a new public safety complex. Thank goodness over 80% of voters rejected that boondoggle.
And meanwhile, crime has gone up drastically over Kintai's last 4 years in charge.
Yeah, and Roswell's roads are a mess. Have you seen the sorry state that streets like North Garden are in? Potholes everywhere.
That's why we need Tim Jennings for mayor. Tim will control spending, hire more police officers, and fix our roads.
Let's send a message to City Hall that Roswell can't afford to spend $61 million on building new baseball fields. Vote Tim Jennings for mayor.
Paid for by Tim Jennings for mayor.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Sigmund Freud once believed that cocaine could be used to help treat a morphine addiction. Mike used bacon to get over his addiction to beef. Here's Mike Winters.
Didn't work. Now I'm a crackhead for beef and bacon. Good morning. Together. That's right.
Together, yes.
On the same plate.
He will not eat beef. It's a true fact. Mike Winters will not eat beef unless he's eating bacon with it.
That's right. You got to, what's the perfect condiment for a burger? Bacon.
Yeah, so the fast food places love him because he's always doing, they're getting that upsell, adding the bacon to the...
Doctor not so happy, but it is 23 minutes after.
Well, he's happy too. He's selling you more drugs.
This is true. I'm keeping him in business.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Thank you for doing your part for the economy.
There you go. I'm helping. I'll be shutting down your restaurant soon. Just so.
There you go.
Jacob Roebuck joining us here in studio, City Councilor representing Ward 1. Good morning. Thanks for coming in, spending some time with us.
Absolutely.
Of course, for folks that don't know, Jacob has decided not to run for his second term, so he's going to be done here in a couple weeks, really.
We work through the end of March.
There you go.
April 1 is when the actual flip happens.
So he's got 1 month remaining as city councilor here. First, thanks for serving.
No problem.
This is something I said it to all the people when I had them on here running during the election.
Sure.
These local elections, for the most part, these are people that we all live here in this community. They're locals. People are signing up for this not necessarily for the glory of it.
It's all about the glory.
I mean, they're doing it because they want to do their part.
Not.
And so, even though we all disagree on stuff, I do appreciate you and everyone for stepping up and be doing their part.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things. Now, that being said, I know you wanted to come on today because you've been watching you've been hearing everything that's going on.
It's been an interesting election cycle. We have as a counselor, I decided not. I say we because my wife's obviously involved in the decision as well. We decided not to run again this cycle because we have some. We decided to stay in Roswell about 11 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And when we decided that, we said, hey, we want to contribute to the community. We want to help make the community a better place. As we want to be good citizens. And
you've been doing that for 10 years.
Thank you. When this election came up and we had to decide about it, we also have some other opportunities with our tourism business that we think is very important as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on some new projects that I'm sure I'll be on to talk about. Post things, but
I imagine your Christmas Railway aspirations will keep growing and going.
Yeah, and some other
things,
and so it's just a matter of. I think people may not realize this about city council, but to do city council well, it takes a lot of time.
It does.
You have at least 3 meetings, probably average 5 or 6, 5 meetings, not 6, probably about 5 meetings on average a month. All those meetings are going to be at least 2 hours. And that's not any meeting prep, any going and sitting down. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a huge time commitment. And, it's one thing that if I was going to do it, I want to make sure that I can do it. I have enough time to do it right. And I'm not ruling out running again in the future at all.
Sure.
I think my wife and I will stay actively engaged in our community. It's our plan anyway. But for this cycle, it's like, okay, if I can't do it really well, let me step out, let somebody else.
You got to focus on your business.
Yeah.
You want to focus more on like you do your nonprofit ventures. The
Royal Family
Kids and Purple Day. That was something you really brought here to our community,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously the Christmas Railway. You always every year want to come bigger and bolder and better, and that requires time to do all that stuff.
It sure does.
Yeah.
And I think we have to look at it and say, okay, how everybody contributes to this community in some way. Hopefully everybody's actively thinking about it. How am I making my community a better place?
Sure.
And hopefully everybody at some point in their annual rhythm or whatever, they stop and they kind of evaluate, what am I doing? How can I be doing a better job? What do I need to be letting go?
Sure.
If we're not careful as human beings, we'll just let the world will tell us what to do, and it'll just roll us in. And so,
sure.
And so, we just made that focus, but, it's been an interesting race. And I think the interesting thing is being on the council I've been on for 4 years. It's been a crazy 4 years. I don't know if I would have run if I would have known I would be having to deal with the shutdowns.
Sure. Yeah, you got arguably one of the most trying times probably that city councils had to worry about probably since maybe World War II, Vietnam era, you know?
Well, yeah. I think and I think the other thing that's happened is that over the past, because of the shutdowns, it's really forced a national politics down to the local level. I think there's a natural tendency for us to resist sort of we don't want to do business the same way business is done in Santa Fe.
Right.
We don't want to do business the same way business is done in Washington because we are all neighbors, number one, because we don't have to. We don't have to be, dirty or whatever. We can really just let's talk about the ideas.
Sure.
I think
figure it out together.
Yeah, and figure it out together. Take things to votes. And see where the chips lie, but not get so overly invested in any one thing that the emotions rule out.
I'm curious of lessons learned for you. I'm sure you had an idea going in of being a city councilor and what it involves and things. Obviously, COVID, everything. Nobody imagined those things happen. But
sure.
But looking after your term here, what going in now, knowing what you know now,
sure.
what is there? I'm not saying different or anything, but what information would you say you ran again, or if you run it again in the future?
Yeah.
What would you do differently?
Well, I think the most important thing is focus, and that you have to be very focused because there's so many. You end up putting out so many fires,
right?
You end up putting out so many fires. We've spent a ton of time on like cannabis laws. We've spent, we didn't ask for cannabis laws to come up. Obviously, we spent a lot of time dealing with the shutdowns.
Sure.
So I think that in order to get anything done, it takes an incredible amount of focus. And inversely, I think that good ideas don't just get done. You need a good idea, and you need somebody on city council
to run with
to be a champion. Yes, every good idea needs a champion. Otherwise, it gets lost and this is what. Why is it so much work? Well, the reality is, I'm sure a lot of your listeners have at one point or another served on a board for a nonprofit, for a church, or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, imagine if you're serving on a board, but you're not just you're the board of the police, you're the board of the fire department, you're the board of the water department, you're the board of the trash department, you're the board of the library, you're the board of the museum, you're the board of the zoo, and on and on and on. And so it is the city has, I think, 40 different departments, and you are the board. And you
oversees all of that.
Yeah, you fiscally oversee all that, and so it's a lot. It's a lot of work, but
sure.
But it's important work. I am glad we have people running. That's always important, and I'm glad that people run. I think
sure.
I don't like it when races are uncontested.
Because that really breeds more of the same.
Well, people don't get choice,
sure.
And it also, even let's jump over to the mayor's race. I'm glad that Jennings is running because people need to have a choice. They need to be okay. I need to be able to choose between something. If people don't run, then there is no choice.
There's no democracy if there's no choice.
Democracy dies without choice. Putin runs for president too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
He ran for president.
I don't know who ran against him, but
people voted for him. Yeah.
But yes, you're right.
So anyways, I think that's important. It has been. I was trying to, and I haven't been involved in any of the campaigning.
Sure.
But I wanted to stay out of this race.
Yeah, I know there were some things that, I know you and I think,
we did. We took an ad out.
Councilor Foster both joined together to put out to kind of dispel because that's what's going on. There's a lot of numbers being thrown around.
Here's the thing that's been really really rough, and I reached out to Jennings. I didn't get a response directly. But I want people to vote on the facts. I want people to have the right information. And what really has been disturbing about, the Jennings campaign is that he is running this campaign I guess he's using, I want to say, antiquated tactics. Like your voters are not very smart.
Okay.
Like they can't understand the nuance of what's going on here. And so, the thing that really, that I reached out to Jennings about and said, hey, you need to take this back because you misrepresented, you grossly misrepresented what happened at council. Now, yes, there was a document and you can find it and it does say $61 million on it. But, I liken it to like when you go and buy a car,
right?
You might go and you might look at all the different price tags on all the cars. Now, that you're not buying that Ferrari.
You see the Ferrari, and you're like, man, I love to have that Ferrari.
I remember when Tesla was brand new, and I went and I sat down inside of a Tesla Roadster, and I even took a picture. But I didn't walk out of the dealership with a Tesla. That wasn't going to be the car that was going to make sense for my family and in our economics. And I think that it's disingenuous for him to present that and say, well, they're fiscally, but then use that evidence. Here's a $61 million plan.
Right.
That number one is it's not even a final plan. It's a concept.
Right.
And they like to give us numbers on these concepts. The irony was that we're looking at this plan in the meeting, right? The first time any of the counselors had seen this number, we're looking at this plan and we're like, why is this $61 million? We were trying to even figure that out. How could this could possibly be $61 million? Because we've been looking at the baseball parks for a while.
Sure, and you're like, what's that grass made of?
and we had looked at and we had some estimates come in before.
Sure.
We had looked at estimates between 12 and 20 million in that range for building these baseball complexes. And so when the state legislature gave us an allocation, so when they give us an allocation for something, we can use it on whatever they told us we can.
Sure, it's earmarked specifically for whatever they say.
So,
this is what money's
and that's
for.
the other thing too. It's like they say, well, you guys approved spending $500,000 on this. It's like we couldn't have spent that $500,000 on anything else. And
they
so,
couldn't have said, well, yeah, we got $500,000. We could put it on roads, or we could do it here. They said, no, here's $500,000.
It was earmarked. So even again, that's disingenuous.
Right.
You're not presenting the facts right now. If you've got a better idea, I would love to hear the ideas. You know, but I'd love to know how. If Jennings thinks we need baseball fields and how he wants to pay for them.
Sure.
I think that would be great. That would be something great to run on. But just attacking those, and I think that's the problem that we do have in Roswell is we have to be careful. Is we have a lot of stone throwers.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of people who are like, well, I don't know. I don't know what that is, but that doesn't feel right. Or I'm just against. I want to be against something. And they start throwing stones, and I'm okay with. We want to have good dialogue, but bring facts. People make too many, and this happens a lot on council as well. Is that it's like you're making an emotional decision,
right?
And that's what Jennings is hoping to do with his campaign. Is he's building this argument? It's like, well, these guys are fiscally irresponsible when and we took out that ad because we're like, well, people vote whoever they want to.
Sure.
If they want to vote for Jennings, that's their business.
Well, and people listen in snippets and little, they hear a headline and they treat it as gospel because that's what people do.
Sure, absolutely. And so we, we in that ad that we put out, we really wanted to put out here are the facts.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is that this council has been fiscally very responsible, very conservative. It starts with, and let me dive a little bit into how the budgeting process works. It starts with the first thing the council has to do is say, how much money do we think we're going to make?
Right.
We
and they basically look at last year's budget and use that as a.
Well, we look at last year's income.
Gotcha. Right. And use that as a measuring stick.
Because if you're not careful, we've got some good bureaucrats, but I'm going to talk about them in kind of a negative light. The bureaucrats, they want more revenue to solve their problems, and so like, well, we think we're going to make this much, and the first thing that and Councilor Perry was involved in this, and the other people on finance, myself, and we was like, no. You don't assume that you're going to make whatever millions of dollars. Assume that your income is going to be down lower.
Gotcha.
Because we just project lower numbers.
Hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Yes, but so I think that's even starting. It's like let's go on the conservative side about how much taxes we think we're going to get.
Gotcha.
That's step number one.
That way you're not disappointed when you see the real numbers.
Well, what happens, or you overspend.
Yeah.
Because then you budget for whatever, and then all of a sudden you didn't get as much money as you thought.
Surplus is better than spending too much.
Right. And so we've made sure that we have surplus. That's not thing number one.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing that we did is that the state requires the city to keep 1/12 of a reserve. So 1/12 of our operations budget. So I call it
basically a month of operating costs.
Yes, I call it the rainy day fund. So if for some reason, and you got to think about that. Well, that's not very long, but it's for some reason that you have a dip.
It's kind of assuming everything shuts down and you got no other income coming in. You could run the city for another 30 days.
Yes, absolutely. And so and of course we're like, well, we need to be more robust than that.
Sure.
Because that's not a lot of lead time. Now, going to absolute zero, nothing coming in is not rare. But imagine if there was an event where you had a 50% fallout.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, then that's enough money
to make an impact.
To make it 60 days, And so we said, okay, well, we want to be able to keep everything operating as normal through a 6-month period. So then, if it dropped down to half, and so then, okay, well, we need 3/12, and so. Which is a significant investment.
That's 3 times what is mandated.
It's 3 times what's mandated, and you know what? And the people who are coming up with, and again, I like a lot of our people work on the budget, but they've got 1,000 projects and they want to spend that money. And sure. it was this council, it was the council that said, no, we are going to hold the line. And they brought us a budget and they had 1/12, and they said, no, go back. We want 3/12. When the shutdowns happened, we dramatically cut the budget.
Right.
And we've held the line on that too.
Sure.
It was a time for us to force the city to cut the fat out, and we cut out a lot of fat.
And I would imagine, because you look at the world we live in, and you're like, no, we need to protect what we got here. And quite frankly, the city council looks at 1 month is not enough. That's something to make people feel better. That's not even something that's got teeth. At least 3 months is something we can at least have a foundation for and work with if everything goes squirrely here. And so you're right, because I think the month is almost something that voters or politicians will say, we got you covered. We got a month worth. But in reality, if things go down, that month ain't going to help nobody. And at least 3 months, you're like, all right, now we got something. At least we've got a game plan. And
we've got time.
So that's really forethought on the council's part in saying, you know what they're saying is not enough protection for us. We want more protection, and that's what you guys decided on.
And so it's I feel like that again didn't really take an ad out for the thing. It's just we want to set the record straight when we took that ad out. It's like, okay, this is just not true. Now, if Jennings wants to go out there and run on ideas, great,
But tell them as such.
But put the ideas out there, And I think the question I would ask is, okay, do you think we need new baseball fields? Because he hasn't answered that question. How would you like to pay for those new baseball fields?
Sure.
When you look at the mayor's race, here's something I think people need to really understand. And the mayor's race is not, even though it's got all the attention, it's not the most important race happening right now. And because when I said, Dennis certainly was in support of the budget. So I want to give Dennis, his the proper due. It's not like he could have resisted the budget, but he didn't. He was definitely in support of having a fiscally conservative budget.
Sure.
But the work is done by the councilors. The mayor's most important job, and the mayor has a lot of different roles, but the most important job the mayor has is he or she is the parliamentarian, runs the meetings,
steers you guys, keeps you on task.
Keeps us absolutely. You've got 10 councilors, and that's and to be honest, that's probably Dennis's strongest point. If you've been to a meeting, he runs a very tight ship.
He does. He does not allow nonsense.
He doesn't
to get out of.
Does not allow to get not. He absolutely not. Sometimes he's a little too teacherish for me, but he does. He runs a tight ship.
Sure.
And the mayor does not set the budget.
The mayor really, other than break ties, he's not really involved in decision making at all.
Well, no, he's involved.
He has input, but at the end of the day, city council is the one making the things happen.
And I think when we've had this whole talk about the airport authority, this was one of the things that I think was frustrating for me because I know I reached out to different people on the different task force and stuff like that and said, hey, let's figure out something. Let's figure out what the compromise is. Let's figure out a way forward because from where I sat and a couple other counselors sat, we looked at the airport authority as presented in the legislation, and we said this is not going to work. We didn't say no. We don't want any sort of whatever. We authorized the task force. They said joint task force, and myself and some other counselors. We reached out to different parties and said, hey. Let's do something. And the sad part is that people got so fixed in their minds that, well, if Dennis is against it, we can't do it, and which is not true. We've worked around. It's like if the mayor is against something, the councilors are the ones who have the vote. And I remember one time in particular, the mayor had something on the agenda. The mayor can't put things on the agenda, but the council took it off.
Sure.
At
the end of the day, they have that say.
We didn't want to deal with it, and I think. There's this illusion that somehow Mayor Kintyre pulls the strings of the counselors, and it's just I've seen every one of those counselors stand up to Dennis when it was appropriate.
Sure, there's 10 individual people there, all with their own thoughts and opinions. Some agree with the mayor, some don't. It's just what it is.
Jennings came and spoke. He's been at a couple of the council meetings, and he came and spoke, and he started chastising us for the aquatics center, the rec center. It wasn't big enough, or this or that. The other
deep
thing,
of the pool, all the things we're hearing.
Maybe valid, maybe not. But here's the thing that again, this was it's like Jennings. This is not going to work for you. Let's say you win. These are the people you have to work with.
Sure.
And you're not approaching it in a diplomatic way. You're coming out and you're throwing stones at us. And the reality is, then I started looking around on the council. And I'm like, does Jennings even realize that half of these people weren't on the council when that passed?
It's true. There's a lot of new faces.
There's a lot of new faces. And I will tell you a story that, his brother Tom, different person, but Tom was mayor. For 4 years, Tom wanted to fire the city manager. And he was not able to. Now, the city manager has a lot of power.
Yeah.
The city manager,
Is that something the city council has to do?
The city council, yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
The mayor appoints.
Because at the end of the day, you guys hire. I mean, he recommends and puts.
That's the main job.
But at the end of the day, the council hires.
Two jobs the city council have. The main jobs: hire the city manager and approve the budget.
Now, usually the mayor kind of vets and kind of presents candidates.
The mayor does all the nominating, but even when we hired Joe, and I was on the council, but I don't think Joe was the first. Was Dennis's first choice.
There was, if I remember right, there was a couple people fell through, and before it finally,
ultimately it was. So and that was the thing where the mayor nominated somebody, the council said no, bring us somebody else, and that is part of the mayor's job. But but this is the thing is that we cannot operate politics in this town the same way that you operate them in Santa Fe.
Sure.
And the thing that has been extremely frustrating with Jennings is that he is running his campaign like he's running for a legislative seat.
It is, it's very...
And that's not what the mayor is.
Mm-hmm.
The mayor needs to be someone who brings people together, especially those counselors.
There's a reason.
And when you go out there and you attack those counselors, now I'm not going to be on there this next term.
Sure.
But you'll
be in the audience.
Well, I don't know.
At least a couple nights.
Maybe a couple nights, yeah, when it's pertinent.
Yeah.
And so, I think that it's like, wait a minute, we don't want a mayor who's viciously attacking these effectively volunteers. I mean, we make a little bit of money, but it's nothing worth what time it takes.
Yeah, you're not getting rich off this.
And so, as opposed to saying, hey, I'm going to, he's not setting up a tone of, I'm going to be reaching out, I'm going to be working with you guys, because he's taking that same democratic concept of, we're going to take this by force. Mm-hmm. We're going to take this by force. And that is what is wrong with politics today. It's like you cannot, it's like, it's all about, we're going to grab power and then we're going to do whatever we want. I almost said a bad word there. And then I was on the radio. Hey, we're gonna do whatever. It's what my kids, we call it the sharp words with the kids. I almost use a sharp word. I'm sure my kids are, hi Maverick, hi Lewis,
that's right.
Hi Penelope, they're all listening right now.
Do you have a penance for almost? Well, you said almost. You didn't do it.
I didn't
good.
do it. Yeah, some good. Yeah. So, and this kind of stone throwing, as opposed to saying, okay, what are the ideas? Now, he has said that he wants to hire more police. Oh, great. I want him to sit down, look at the budget, and tell me
where that's coming from. It's easy to say that. And certainly it's an ongoing conversation that the council has. It's not like that we've said we never want to hire more police. It's an ongoing question of, do we have the right amount? Yeah.
Are we paying them the right amount? And it's something that we're constantly evaluating. And so his ads oversimplify these problems, number one. But the main thing is that they are just, the thing about more recently we're working on trying to get an airport hangar.
Yeah.
Now, Senator Jennings was at the groundbreaking event.
The governor
was there. His picture was in. He's holding a shovel.
It was a bipartisan event for sure.
It was. It was, and it's a nonpartisan event. It wasn't a partisan event.
Yeah.
And we had representatives from the city there. We had a couple of counselors there.
Sure.
It was
the leaders of our community.
It was the leaders of our community. The governor was there too. And I think that, and then he comes to the council meeting, and so we have to figure out a way to pay for the city part of that endeavor. He's never been against it. And so did he come up and say, here's my plan for how we're going to pay for this?
Sure.
Did he have an idea? Or did he just come up and throw stones? And this is the problem that we have is that, you can't just come up and throw stones. You have to bring ideas. You have to bring solutions. I would have been happy to say, okay, Senator Jennings, what idea do you have to pay for this? But we've got to do this now.
Sure.
We've been working on this for 2 years.
Well,
and yes, it's easy to look at the process and say, well, you could have done this better and you could have done this better. Hindsight is 20/20. But the reality is everybody that was working on that was working as hard as they could. It was a learning curve.
Sure.
Because we haven't built a hangar out there since ever.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's the 40s.
It wasn't the city that built it. The city's never built a hangar out there.
Federal government.
And so it's taken the county helping us. It's taken the governor helping us. It's taken all these people. And with the current city leadership, mayor's part of that, city manager's part of that, the councils, we've brought all those people together, all those personalities together. And believe me, there's been a lot of pissing matches in this process.
Yeah.
But we've gotten past all of that. And it's really a kudos to all these people who have been involved that we've made it happen. And what's going to happen?
Despite the personalities,
personalities, we got it over the finish line. And that's a lot of hard work, a lot of counselors.
I want to ask you. We only got a couple more minutes, but I want to touch on something real quick and give you a chance. I just want your opinion on it. One of the other talking points here, you hear about the public safety complex, the $35 million, and it's like, thank God the voters turned that down. But I want your opinion on something.
That's absolutely right, though.
Yeah, but I want your opinion on something that this next city council is going to have to deal with. Okay, so the $35 million didn't get through, but that doesn't erase the fact that we have a need for our fire and EMS and police. They need some of these things. What do you think this next city council is going to have to do to meet? Because that was to fix a problem down the road, and maybe the the public said we don't want that, but that doesn't change the need. What's options? What other options do you think are on the table for them?
Sure.
Because
well, I mean, there was always another plan.
Okay.
I mean, and so you're talking about building maintenance. You're talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think that we continue operating. At least that's what's happened so far. We've continued operating as I think. When you attack that problem, the bond issue. Number one, I look at that and I said the system worked.
Mm-hmm.
It was easy as a counselor.
That's by design. Yes, it
was
did what
easy.
it's supposed to.
It was, the people say, well, how could you possibly voted for that? Mm-hmm. Well, it was easy. I wasn't voting for it. I was voting to give the voters a voice in it.
Sure.
And we had a robust dialogue over a couple months.
Yeah, you guys knew going in, when you make a decision, say yes here, it's to bring it to the voters, not to make sure it happens.
And, and I took an ad out. That was the other ad I took. I took an ad to talk about that. And and I think that it was interesting, that whole campaign, because I think, we were asking people for a serious investment.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't sugarcoat that with anybody. It's like, you're going to feel this.
Yeah.
If you're a property owner, you're going to feel this.
But you as a council said, but this is something we need as a community.
We need it. And so, I think if I were going to stay on the council, coming out of the shutdowns and stuff like that, if I were going to stay on the council, I would, and I'm encourage the councilors who are going to be on the council, is that we need to work on creating a capital improvement fund.
Gotcha.
To where we take, and I think the way that I would propose that it works, that we take that 3/12, and instead of rolling it over every year, we actually, if we didn't spend it, we put it away.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then we put that into a fund specifically designated for, so that when it's time to build a new police station or whatever, that we have a bunch of money saved already.
Any city public facility.
Because right now the city doesn't have. We took step one is we got the budget under control.
Mm-hmm.
Because we didn't even have the systems in place. the first budget meeting I was in, it was like we were with the staff and it was kind of chaos. And they're like, well, we're trying to do this on Excel spreadsheets. Gotcha. And we were like, well, how come you haven't asked us for anything else? Well, they're like, it's too expensive. And I said, like, we need to make that decision.
That's our job.
Yeah, we'll decide that. And so we've come a long way with the budgeting process.
Gotcha.
And so now I think the next step to take is, okay, let's look at budgeting not just as a yearly thing, but how we look at it as a 5 year, as a 10-year thing.
Sure.
And so we need to be thinking about, we know we're going to need new police stations. We know we're going to need new fire stations. Those have to come out of GRT. They can't come out of, you're not going to use your water bill to pay for that. The water, those things pay for themselves. And
sure.
So we need to start building up a fund, because the way that our community would rather do things is we'd rather save the money up for the expenses in the future versus borrow them.
Sure.
And pay them out over the life. So, and you're going to have to do some of both of that, but we need to start doing the first as well.
Sure.
And I think that
I'm just afraid they don't kick this down the can, and next thing you know, we got Yucca Center 2.0 with our
I don't think
fire and law enforcement.
We're not going to get to Yucca Center 2.0. We're not going to get to Yucca, because we're paying attention now. The thing with Yucca Center was that nobody was paying attention, and that building got too far down the road to where we weren't keeping the repairs on it.
Yeah.
We're paying attention now, and that's the other thing too, is that and I even say about the mayor's race. Number one is the person. If you don't know who to vote for mayor, you need to be asking your favorite counselor who they want.
Sure.
Because
talk to people you trust.
Yeah. Because that's the council's gonna do what they're gonna do. Mm-hmm. But the question is it going to be a situation where they have to fight a mayor to get things done, like the city council that worked with Tom, mm-hmm. and Tom was fighting always to change the city manager, and the city council had to constantly say no to him? Or there's going to be somebody who's going to be more in step with them.
Gotcha.
And I think that's the reality of it. I think that as far as the things that this community wants to get done, the things that Councilor Foster wants to get done, and mm-hmm. Councilor Perry wants to get done, I think those are, you need to give them the guy that's going to help them get things done.
Gotcha.
Jennings is just too often, he's spoken out of both sides. He came in front of the council and said, I support mask mandates. And then he sent out a mailer and said, well, I don't support mandates. And I'm like, well, which one is it? Because it's easy to say it now, but if something happens again,
when push comes to shove
again,
yeah.
are you, and I don't know,
Right.
I know that the governor didn't put out a press release saying, that I disagree with Jennings. It's like, have you really pissed off the governor? I don't think so. I don't think, I bet well, I shouldn't speculate. There might have been a conversation before I say, just so you know, this is coming down the pipe, but don't panic about it. I don't know.
Sure.
They've got a very close relationship, real quick, I called, it's kind of funny too, because I called Tim up when we were trying to get baseball open again for the kids. Kids in other states are playing baseball. The governor was not allowing it.
Right.
And
it's like, let's push some buttons. Let's work some.
And I'm going to work with anybody. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, or whatever.
Sure.
I'm trying to.
You got a goal to hit.
Yes, that particular time was to get our kids back into sports. It was hurting our children, and so I'll talk to anybody. And so and I knew that Tim knew the governor, and Tim's the only person I know that directly knows the governor. So I called him up, and I said, hey, and he at the end he kind of reluctantly said he'd try to do something, but at the first 20 minutes of the conversation, he was chewing me out for some mean things that I guess Janine Korn-Best said about him.
Okay.
And it's like,
I'm not here for that.
It's like
about that.
But that's the thing, is that the council's a bunch of different people and personalities.
Yeah.
And you're
not one person or one brain.
And it's like if your skin is so thin that something Janine Korn-Best said, who just has self-admitted, mm-hmm. she says whatever pops into her head. You can ask her that. I'm not saying anything.
She will tell you that. Yes.
Yes. So it's just too. It's not about the city. It was about Jennings.
Yeah, it was personal.
And it's like you can't let that be personal enough to where when a counselor calls to you for help, you feel the need to spend 20 minutes
instead of real work being done. It's about petty personality, petty attitude, and things like that. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So
I do appreciate. We're out of time here, but Jacob, thank you for serving. Thank you for.
No problem.
And I know I'm pretty sure, like you said, you and your family still in town doing your thing. Your care for the community does not go away. So I imagine you're going to be.
We're not going anywhere.
When needed, you're going to show up and do things.
Sure.
And who knows? Maybe in 4 years or 8 years
or 2 years
you're back back doing this.
Yes,
again,
absolutely.
So.
That was one of the things. It's like you can always run again in 2 years. There's plenty of work to be done, and so
good deal.
Yeah.
Well, Jacob, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
And I'm sure we'll have you on a bunch here between now and then, talking Christmas Railway or any of your other ventures.
Oh, we have some cool new things coming up.
Good deal. Some getting ready to get your alien on and all that stuff. He can help you out there.
Yep.
I got to talk to you about other stuff down the road. There's just TV stuff because I'm curious. Like stuff I'm seeing on TV, I'm like, hey, that's kind of cool. They incorporate. It kind of is. He incorporates that stuff into his own thing. It's kind of cool. But anyway, thank you, Jacob.
Awesome.
Appreciate you. All right, it is 8:58. We're going to play a quick commercial break before we get you into news. Don't go away.
Ed Hildenbrand, candidate for City Council. He's a patriot fighting against the waste of your tax dollars. As a CPA and Chief Financial Officer with over 35 years of experience, Ed understands the importance of managing budgets. By reducing the wasteful spending in the budget, we can lower your city water, sanitation costs, and work to reduce city fees. Roswell's potential is hurt by bad ideas and wasteful spending. Ed Hildenbrand will never vote to shut down Roswell. He'll fight the job, education, and freedom-killing mandates from Santa Fe. It's important that taxpayers see improvements in our roads and city services to attract jobs, businesses, tourists, and to create environment for local businesses to thrive. In Ward 3, you have a choice. Vote Ed Hildenbrand, the conservative candidate. With your vote, we can build a better Roswell.
I'm Ed Hildenbrand, City Council candidate for Ward 3, asking for your vote on Tuesday, March 1st. It's not about me, it's about we, and I approve this message.
Hi, Roswell. I'm Guy Malone, candidate for mayor. Welcome to my non-mudslinging political campaign ad. I want you to visit roswellguy.com to find out about all the good reasons you have to actually vote for someone, not vote against someone. Refreshing idea, hey? Well, I've got lots more where that came from. You know and I know that Roswell is destined for same stuff, different year if we don't vote for positive changes that bring Roswell's politics and economy into the 21st century. Malone for mayor, roswellguy.com.
Paid for by Guy Malone for Roswell.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The Goodyear Rubber Company researched
and although Russia claims it can weather Western economic sanctions, those measures are being tightened. The U.S. is now cutting off access to the Russian central bank. The ruble has hit record lows, and the Moscow Stock Exchange is closed. The BBC's Jenny Hill in the Russian capital.
For your average Russian person this morning, you're not going to feel it just yet. You might notice some queues at the cash point. You might find that your cash point doesn't have any money in it today. The central bank here has just put up its main interest rate from 9% to 20%. The ruble, as you know, has sunk to a record low. There were some delays at the stock exchange here also. So it is starting to bite, and most analysts predict that this will cause really deep economic damage. There is a lot of concern here among people about what these sanctions are going to do to this country.
Talks between Ukrainian and Russian negotiators continue in a location near the border with Belarus. Putin ally China has refrained from criticizing the invasion, much to the dismay of the White House.
Appearing on ABC's This Week, presidential spokeswoman Jen Psaki called on the communist state to issue a formal condemnation of the invasion. She said this is not a time to stand on the sidelines. Psaki went on to say this is a time to be vocal and condemn the actions of President Putin and Russia invading a sovereign country.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston, it's a humanitarian crisis. The UN says around 500,000 civilians have fled Ukraine since the start of the war. Watching Wall Street, the Dow is down 239 points, while the Nasdaq 47 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Moose is the German Shepherd, now 11, and he's been an amazing dog. Moose is so active and so alert and hasn't had any kind of health problems at all. He has been on Dynamite since he's a puppy. DINOVITE.com. Now, Moose, at age 10, had a litter of 10 puppies with a friend's dog. We kept Lupo, his son, and the other puppies were given to friends, but one of the requirements was they must start those puppies on Dynamite. And someday, if Lupo has puppies, they'll be on Dynamite as well. We tell anybody that has a dog, if there was something that you could do right from the beginning so that you don't have expensive veterinary bills, why would you not do it? Get the Dynamite.
Dynamite for life. You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dynamite from DINOVITE.com.
New Zealand is ending a requirement that incoming travelers quarantine.
The country continues to remove coronavirus border protections in the face of a growing domestic outbreak. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern says the requirement that vaccinated travelers isolate for a week after arriving would end on Wednesday. Initially, the changes will apply only to returning New Zealanders, as tourists are still not allowed to visit.
That's correspondent Jeremy House. Hong Kong reporting a record high, more than 34,000 COVID infections as deaths continue to climb. Health authorities say a lockdown has not been ruled out, even though the city's leader previously said that a citywide lockdown was unrealistic. Hong Kong currently grappling with the fifth wave of the coronavirus, driven primarily by the fast-spreading Omicron variant. Health authorities say there could be measures put in place by the government that may involve asking people to stay home. Townhall.com. Well, the fences going back up around the U.S. Capitol.
The plan is to reinstall the barriers that had stood for months after the January 2021 riot. This time it's for President Biden's State of the Union address on Tuesday. It comes as concern grows about potential demonstrations or truck convoys protesting pandemic restrictions, snarling traffic in the nation's capital. The Pentagon's already approved the deployment of 700 unarmed National Guard troops to be used to assist with traffic control. Rhonda Rockster reporting.
China's top diplomat calling on the U.S. to take steps to improve ties as tensions simmer over Taiwan, trade, and other issues. Foreign Minister's remarks delivered virtually to a forum marking the 50th anniversary of the Shanghai Communique, was signed during the ice-breaking 1972 visit to China by President Nixon. Once again on Wall Street, the Dow down 222 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. Leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Tres Inviernos.
Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday, everybody.
Yes.
Welcome to it. Hope your Monday is going swimmingly so far.
So far, so good.
Yeah. Hope, and if not, let's glass half full it. It's only 9:06 in the a.m. You got a whole day to turn it around.
That's right. A whole day to turn it around. That's optimism. A whole day to mess stuff up. That's pessimism.
Pessimism, yes. That's the glass half full or half empty people.
And the aquatic center's open today, so you could make today swimming if you wanted to.
I would. You know what?
How's today going? Swimmingly, in fact.
If I didn't have to do this whole work thing, I'd go sit out there and get my belly out and swim around a little bit.
It's nice. Just kind of bob around in the deep end.
Do some laps.
Like an egg. Some laps.
Just enough to pretend you're actually working out.
Mm-hmm.
You're just really just farting around the water.
It's a saunter.
Yeah. It's my idea of working out.
How many laps did you get in? I got in what I got in, all right?
That's why walking's the perfect exercise. People say I'm going to go for a walk.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, he's physical. But you don't have, I mean, in our head, everyone's thinking you're power walking.
Yeah. No,
I'm just kicking rocks going up down the street, you know?
Hand in a pocket.
Yeah.
Going for a saunter.
Nosing in on people's business.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know. And then if it's cold, the walk's short. If it's hot, the walk's short. The temperature's right, we'll just saunter around till I'm tired.
You know what you should do? Get a leash for your cat. Be that guy that takes the cat for a walk. Really freak your neighbors out, man.
It would be weird, man.
Be like, is Mike Winters walking his cat? Is that a thing you're supposed to do?
I have two. Maybe
because
I can
you're on the radio. You're right. You gotta get the dual lead. No, people would look at you like, because you're a trendsetter. You'd be like, maybe Mike knows something we don't.
If you're people setting off my trend, y'all in trouble.
You could start a wave of catwalking in Roswell.
Mm-hmm.
Leashed catwalking.
I don't think my cats would cooperate. I don't see that.
Oh no, it's going to take some force at first. They're going to have to get used to it.
Yeah,
you have to drag them along at first.
Yeah, literally.
It's going to be violent.
One tries to bolt out and then bolts out and freaks out and runs back in.
Right.
So I don't imagine she's going to go very far.
That's what's funny is both my cats want to go outside, but they won't.
When you pose them with the opportunity, they're like,
yeah. I left the kids were playing outside with some of the other kids in the neighborhood yesterday, so I left the door open. And the cats were just like edging out, kind of looking around. I'm like, as soon as I walk up, Tony was like, whoop, he bolted. He's like, nope, I like food and heat.
Yeah, that's what changes it real quick when they. And then I always point because we have a lot of feral cats in our neighborhood.
Colin Farrell?
Yes,
nice.
Colin Farrell cats.
That's awesome.
Will Ferrell cats.
A lot of star power moving in.
Some Will Ferrell and Colin Farrell cats. And Pete Farrelly cats. Anyway. And Pharrell, the sports announcer cats.
Right. That was actually leaning more towards the R&B singer.
Oh yeah, that's Pharrell too.
It might seem casual what I'm about to say.
I went to Shake It Up, Pharrell.
Of course, you go with the sports animal. I go with the dude with the R&B.
I grew up listening to radio. That's what I did, and I caught more of Shake It Up.
Yeah, I spent a lot more time in pop than you did. All right.
I did. I was listening to obscure radio shows.
You were doing talk, and I was overdoing Justin Bieber songs.
I'm listening to Third Hour G. Gordon Liddy. Talk about how he's duct taped to a tree and give over his fear of lightning.
That'll do it.
He'll do it.
I will do it.
That's how I know various factoids, like you can eat any part of a mammal with the exception of the liver of a polar bear because it's too toxic. Whatever's in it. But end of that, you can eat any other mammal with the exception of the liver.
Now,
according to G. Gordon Liddy.
You said mammal. So I've heard you cannot consume the brain of another human.
I'm just going by G. Gordon Liddy.
Let me back up. So there was
what do you mean, like not consume?
Well, there was a tribe of cannibals. This is like decades ago, who were known to consume all parts of their victims, including the brains. Well, they developed a condition called Kuru.
Okay.
And it basically was like a degenerative disorder. Essentially, our bodies don't have the ability to break down brain material, essentially, and it can cause all of our other systems to shut. It's like poisonous, essentially.
Well, what if you make brain part of a balanced diet?
Right. I mean, I'm sure you could shave some onto a salad,
if you're just
summer
eating
salad.
brain, that might get you. But if you have a balanced diet with fruit and veggies and everything, and a little brain every once in a while,
5 fruits, 5 veg, and a little bit of brain.
If you follow the pyramid, the food pyramid, or whatever they're up to nowadays.
Maybe the problem was excess. What you're arguing is everything in moderation.
Sure, it's like saccharin will kill you if you eat it by the dump truck.
Right.
But if you just have some in your soda or in your tea or whatever, and you're fine.
Tell you what, charter a boat to one of those areas of that's undeveloped that's got those people. Pitch your idea. See how they take it.
It's like, hey, it's not eating brain every day.
I got an idea. No, hold on. Hold your spears. Hold your spears. Listen, hear me out.
We're eating my brain. Here's a watermelon. Try this out.
I come to you bearing sweets.
Yeah.
Have y'all tried chocolate? It's amazing.
Goobers. Best thing on the planet. It's goobers.
Hey,
Don't leave them out in the sun, though. They'll melt.
Just don't argue that with cannibals, because they'll say that good-looking guys go for girls who go for great-tasting guys.
It's right. I go for guys that go for great-tasting brains.
Kidneys.
Well, anyway.
Is that polar bear liver? No, I'm good, thanks.
That's the saying. I'm just telling you. So if you ever get stuck out in the tundra, don't eat the liver. Just the rest is good to go.
I feel like there's a challenge in this. Well, okay.
Let's get a polar bear.
You've heard of fugu.
Uh-huh.
So, like, in Japanese culture, you can take like the puffer fish that's poison, highly poisonous.
Yeah, there's one little part you can eat or something.
If you cut it in a certain way, it's actually kind of tasty. Yeah. There's only like 3 chefs in the world that can do it.
How many people died figuring that little nugget of information?
Right. How many ancient Chinese secrets went to the grave? Yeah. But the question is there a way to cut the polar bear liver in a way that cuts out the toxicity?
Little sashimis.
Some polar bear sashimis. Yeah, nothing I like more than some sushis and sashimis. You know what? Forget what I was saying. I'm just going to end it with the Letterkenny reference. That's the best way to cap it off.
I knew that's where I was going. I was like, let me get to it with the sashimis.
Walleye, perch, and snapper.
Sushis and sashimi. Don't go away. We have actual content for you. Please don't run away. Here in just a few minutes, we're going to have mayoral candidate Guy Malone join us. He's running for mayor here in the upcoming municipal election, so he'll have a great conversation with us. Chit-chat, tell us why you should vote for him. So that's coming up in just a little bit. Later on, we'll get you up to date with local news, along with your Hannity update, town hall business, and whatever else we can come up with for this hour of the show. While you enjoy your sushis and sashimis, let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A little bit of low pressure moving through the area today, so we could get some cloud cover. Fairly mild, though. Our afternoon high will end up in the mid-60s. A few lingering clouds for the overnight hours, but clearing late. Our low drops to 30, and then we'll get a lot more sunshine on Tuesday and a little bit warmer. We're back in the low 70s, sunny and mid-70s coming up for Wednesday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 40 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 27%. Winds are, in fact, calm at the moment. Cloudy today, but pleasant temperature-wise. 67 our expected high today. Winds will be out of the south at around 5 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with an overnight low of 32 degrees. Southwest winds at around 5 miles per hour. Tuesday, warmer still, sunny, partly cloudy, 72 for a high. Winds will be out of the southeast at around 5 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tomorrow night with an overnight low of 34. South winds at around 5 miles per hour. Wednesday, sunny, 75 for a high. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 76. Friday, we're pushing 80. Mostly sunny, highs near 80. But that can't have it too perfect. They're going to throw in wind for that one as well. Then looking at your weekend, sunny and 73 Saturday, sunny and 70 on Sunday. So warm temperatures for the most part this week. All right, it is 15 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And then on the other side, we'll have mayoral candidate Guy Malone join us. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Honey, did you see the story in the Roswell paper recently about how Dennis Kintai and the city council want to spend $61 million on new baseball fields?
Yep, talk about out-of-control spending.
Yeah, they say it's a field of dreams, more like field of debt.
Definitely. Kintai and the council don't have their priorities straight. Remember, they wanted to spend $35 million on a new public safety complex. Thank goodness over 80% of voters rejected that boondoggle.
And meanwhile, crime has gone up drastically over Kintai's last 4 years in charge.
Yeah, and Roswell's roads are a mess. Have you seen the sorry state that streets like North Garden are in? Potholes everywhere.
That's why we need Tim Jennings for mayor. Tim will control spending, hire more police officers, and fix our roads.
Let's send a message to City Hall that Roswell can't afford to spend $61 million on building new baseball fields. Vote Tim Jennings for mayor.
Paid for by Tim Jennings for mayor.
Attention dart enthusiasts, shooters, or just plain old chuckers. B&B Newsstand in downtown Artesia is the only place for quality dart supplies and dart boards. Plus, find wacky adult gifts like novelty socks and cup towels, Candleberry candles, Zippo lighters, and so much more. Come in and browse all the cool stuff at B&B Newsstand. You won't be disappointed. Root beer floats, Coke floats, and the best fountain drinks in town can only be found at B&B Newsstand on the corner of Main and Roselawn in downtown Artesia. Open Monday through Friday from 11 to 7. Roswell Skin Center, a brand new state-of-the-art facility located in the 400 Penn Plaza building here in Roswell, is now accepting new patients. Dr. Brandon Cometti and his team offer a full range of skin care services, including general dermatology, surgical and cosmetic procedures, including cutting-edge laser rejuvenation, Botox, filler, laser hair removal, chemical peels, and other non-invasive options to improve skin health and turn back the hands of time. Call and schedule your appointment at Roswell Skin Center today, 208-2509. That's 208-2509.
The University of New Mexico is committed to ensuring that residents of our state entering college for the first time can afford to pursue a bachelor's degree with the Lobo First Year Promise. Qualified first-time freshmen who have graduated from a New Mexico high school and have an annual family income of $50,000 or less will have base tuition and fees for full-time enrollment covered for the 22 to 23 academic year. Application deadline is March 1st. The Lobo First Year Promise at the University of New Mexico. Find out more at promise.unm.edu.
So what am I doing with my tax refund? I'm giving my home a makeover with new furniture from Glenn's. A new living room, dining room, and bedroom. Even a curio cabinet for my elephant collection. Glenn's has beautiful, high-quality furniture that I'll be proud of for years. And Glenn's will deliver it for free. So my tax refund and I are headed for Glenn's. And my home is going to be fresh, bright, and beautiful. Since 1953, people have been coming to Glenn's Furniture at the corner of Union and Alameda in Roswell.
Hi, I'm Margaret Kinnard, City Councilor representing Ward 2. All the candidates are telling us what they are going to do, but let me tell you what I have done. As Vice Chair of the Infrastructure Committee, I worked diligently and was successful in funding the largest street projects in Roswell's history. As a member of the Finance Committee, I assisted in successfully cutting excessive government spending by 23%. I voted to protect your rights, and I promise to continue to do so. Roswell is home for me and my family, and I look forward to continuing to serve the citizens of Roswell. I ask for your vote on Tuesday, March 1st. Paid for by friends to elect Margaret Kinnard.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Linen can absorb up to 20 times its weight in moisture before it feels damp. Now, you don't have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom anymore. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 20 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, mayoral candidate Guy Malone with us this morning. Morning, Guy.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Guy.
Hey.
I'm sure you get that a lot.
Hi, Guy.
I know a guy. Well, first off, thanks for coming on the show this morning, and thanks for running for mayor. I've said this to every candidate, or tried to. Hope I didn't forget anybody. But these are positions of the people. These aren't necessarily the polished politicians that serve these roles in the municipal election. And these are people you go to church with, people you go to school, go to restaurants, shopping, people you live your life with. And we appreciate you coming in and saying, I want to help that and be a part of it. So win, lose, or draw, thank you for stepping up.
Thank you. It has been probably the best adventure of my life so far. Win, lose, or draw, I'm so glad I'm in this. It's been extremely rewarding.
Sure.
Fortunately, I think I've changed a lot of minds, reached a lot of people in the last several months. But like you said, and don't forget the people you go to the theater with.
Yes, absolutely.
But there's this time of candidate, there's more people that have never run for office that they had, like when we did the Leadership Roswell Forum that we were all invited to. Yeah. 3.5 hours long because you had 14 candidates.
Sure, 4 mayoral candidates, 4 in race or ward. Or is it 5 in Ward 4 and 3 in another? So. And yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. It's most people.
And
it's
not just the politicians. And honestly, I don't think it's just a local issue. It's not like I'm going to get up here and say everybody's sick of what's going on locally. The last nationwide, it's just there's just the tide is turning.
Sure,
the people are stepping up. It's a lot more government by the people instead of the professional politics. That's just the move. That's just something we're in right now. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah. So I got to ask. For folks that don't know Guy, I mean, Roswell Communal Theater and that side of things, you've probably seen him a lot there. You worked for Cattle Baron for many years here. So first, give a little background about you, just to kind of separate on that, and then finish that up with what made you decide, you know what? I mean, because you're living your life, you're doing your thing, you're probably pretty happy. What made you decide to say, you know what, I'm gonna decide to throw my hat in the ring for mayor here?
Well, I moved here in 1999, actually. The last time I was on was a few years ago. It had to do with my views on the alien phenomenon.
Yes,
I went ahead and dropped a Facebook link, or on my Guy Malone for Roswell Facebook page, not my personal one, but Guy Malone for Roswell. I dropped a link of a lecture I do in 1947, what really happened, the man-made view of the UFO phenomena, or of the 1947 event.
Incident, yeah.
And I've done that lecture here in town a few times. I'm glad it gets front page news. But for money, that's always been sort of nonprofit or hobbyish interest.
Sure.
Like I've done sales.
Pastime for you. Yeah.
I've done sales and restaurant most of my life, as far as, like you said, Cattle Baron. I'm so glad that a lot of times when you're a restaurant worker, you keep, one day, hope I get a day job or something like that. And I do work from home now. But as far as being part of the community for so long, I think that's where a lot of people know they know me from.
Sure.
Even if it's just my voice or it's just the face that they see.
Sure. Or saw you in a play or something. Yeah.
I know that guy from Cattle Baron.
Yeah.
So I can thankfully lean into that for 90% of the people that know me from that alone over the years, is that I've made a pretty good impression. They know they like me, whether they understand my politics or views and others.
Sure.
No big deal. But a lot of the
you have a personality that they like.
Yeah. And in a race like this, especially at the local level, character matters.
A nice guy.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah. As long as you're not a girl saying that, that's fine. That's the kiss of death there.
Yeah, I'm not trying to date you.
Mike just friend zoned me, y'all. Golly.
Sorry, guy.
Right off the bat.
I am taken.
But yeah. Good. Yeah. But no, just character matters. So
Sure.
I think I've shown that people respect at least the way I've worked.
Absolutely.
And I've kind of joked around. If you know me from there and you don't like me, it's probably because I charged you $1.95 for that cup of soup right after you told me you weren't going to the salad bar. So it showed up on your bill. Sorry about that, but
Gotcha.
That's why they made me a trainer, I guess. So, but yeah, it's a huge part of my life, both the relationships, friendships there.
Sure.
But I tell you, the stuff you just overhear, the stuff that people don't realize, the person that's serving them is actually listening. I've heard the voice of the community for years and years, the good, the bad, the ugly, and stuff like that.
Scuttlebutt, yeah.
It's good word.
Yeah.
So you find out the opinions of a lot of people. What I've known actually a lot longer than most people think that I would be running for mayor. Back in the aughts, in the 00s and the 2000s.
Way back.
When I was having some fairly successful UFO-related conferences here in town and bringing in speakers from it was usually at back in the day, the Best Western Sallyport.
Okay.
Had like 3 or 4 years of conferences there.
Okay.
That were not part of the UFO museum side of it, but it added to what was bringing people to Roswell.
Sure.
People think I'm more knowledgeable about this UFO thing than people think. So I know it's one of my campaign points to slightly de-emphasize it.
Sure.
And push stuff that's in the performing arts. But
moving it to private.
Yeah, even in the aughts, because of the success I was having with that, I owned the domain that the Daily Record they cut and paste my schedule for 3 years in a row and put it in the Vision. The domain was RoswellUFOFestival.com back then, so I helped community organize them from that end. But all I was going to say is I used to joke, and I think I was joking at the time that, well, I'm either going to be run out of town with pitchforks and torches, or I'm going to wind up running for mayor or being mayor. And I didn't know I was joking at the time. Right?
No,
I thought I was joking at the time. Right? But yeah, 2.5 years ago, even before the lockdowns, a friend of mine, we started really talking about it.
Gotcha.
So I've known that I've just felt called to it in the sense, and then the lockdowns happened. All of our lives just kind of went upside down on hold for a while. Mm-hmm. But I knew 6 months ago, at least, I started talking a little more with a broader group of people here in town.
Sure.
That I would was good. So before either of the other major candidates or any of the 3 candidates other than me declared, I knew I was in it, that I was felt called to it, and the main thing that I feel that if I look over all of my campaign points or all of what I do is that there's this overarching sense of poverty and curse, and we're just broke, and oh God, the Army base closed, and the Levi's plant moved away, and the ice plant, and the candy. And that is still the stuff that's coming out of people's mouths and hearts So I've introduced on my site, you've seen a few ways that I think could bring in new money to Roswell. You know, it's not out with the old and with the new. It's more of a make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver, one is gold. So I'm looking at ways through my industry contacts now, because I do Bitcoin from home, a copyright editor. You've probably seen that. I'm a grammar nerd. That's it. I get to correct people's capitalization and spelling and AP and fact check, and make sure if you're OCD like me, or if you're CDO like me as well, which is the same thing except I alphabetized it because it was bugging me. But no, when you're reading something on the internet, though, those little punctuations or whatever like that bug you, I get paid for fixing that stuff.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, and I know something, because I've heard talked about some of your platforms and things, and yeah, you're right. They're different than, like you said. You kind of, like you mentioned earlier. It's not out with the old, in with the new, but kind of a working the two together. But the new is new. I mean, like you said, you're talking about, you said Bitcoin, but getting into the virtual cryptocurrency world and getting the city on that kind of stuff, and I guess I imagine your biggest pushback, when you get pushback on that, is due to lack of understanding of how all that works. Am I a little bit? I mean, pretty right on there.
I got invited. I did a talk for a Christian prophecy conference. Actually, it's online. You can find it somewhere on my sites. But is Bitcoin the mark of the beast? That's like a big elephant in the room that people are worried about. Digital currency and government shutting us down.
Yeah.
But the people that were working on digital currencies originally in the 80s and 90s, they were the cypherpunk movement. And they saw coming that governments would be shutting us down for our political views, freezing our bank accounts.
Gotcha.
Everything that's happening in Canada and Ukraine. Yeah. They called it, you're right, decades ahead, so they were trying to front run it. So the invention of Bitcoin has nothing to do with criminal money or laundering. Criminals do use it, and they also use cell phones, and they use the internet, and they use oxygen as well. That doesn't
criminals
make those
will
things
use
bad.
whatever is to their advantage. That's easily, that's what criminals do.
And so will you and I.
Path of least resistance. Yeah,
but it's a new thing that I got really interested and passionate about. Around us, Texas and Arizona are both making Bitcoin as legal currency laws.
Okay.
I can rattle off half a dozen states, actually, Wyoming and Colorado, literally everyone right around us but us.
It's something that in 10, 20 years is going to be as common as the dollar is right now.
5 or 6, yeah.
I'm giving a number here.
But the point is, I have the ability to connect with that industry because of my job title. Any CEO, any company, I can say, hey, Guy Malone, Roswell, whether I'm mayor or not. I have had a good talk with someone on the Travis County Economic Development Board. So you're going to
keep trying that regardless if you're mayor or not.
Yeah, you have a better platform for anything if you have that, but you can use the word mayoral candidate, or you can use member of the Economic Travis County Development Board, something like that.
Sure.
So I'll be joining that pretty recently, mayor or not. But the point is, it's new money. It's something that almost nobody understands or nobody's heard of. It's like we're in an era of people were afraid of electricity and saying that stuff's dangerous and that's killing people.
You're going to be dying. People are going to be blowing up in their houses. Yeah.
And especially the candle makers and the oil salesmen. They're creating all these
scare on it.
editorial cartoons and fear in the newspapers. So that's where we are on that.
The carriage people were pretty mad at the Ford Motor Company,
too.
When that was going on, too.
Oh, they were. There's cartoons. It used to be a law. You had to have someone walking in front of your horseless carriage with a red flag and ringing a bell. That was a law from the lobbying of people that didn't. And nowadays, it's the banks and the investment firms that are the heaviest advertisers in newspapers and media that are writing a lot of the slamming articles. Meanwhile, on the down low, they're buying it up. Before everybody else.
And that's really where we're at in crypto world is, the people, the tried and trues are going to be like, we're going to be fine with this and that. But in reality, that's going to be the way the world goes. And it's kind of like smartphones. How many of us sat and said, I'm never going to have a cell phone. I'm not going to. Now you can't live life without one. You literally cannot be a member of society without a cell phone because that's just how it is nowadays.
Right, yeah. Just because of the knowledge and the contacts I have, I would love it if every business in town got ahead of the curve and knew how to accept Bitcoin. Yeah. Like you can pay your AT&T bill online with it now. People don't know that. You can buy a new or used car from Dallas Ford. You walk into Burrito Express on College, you look at their sign on the window when you're walking in. They've got a QR code for accepting it. Yeah.
Nice.
It's I think you have to do it online the way they have theirs set up. But it's an industry, it's new money. I'm not against the old money so much as I've been quoted correctly and a little misquoted too. And I bring it on myself too.
Sure.
But I have a real vision for bringing new money, and even as a savings account for the private individual. I started collecting $10 a week out of my bank account of it, and now I'm after 4 or 5 years of that and some bigger purchases, but I'm not concerned about Social Security being there for me or not.
You got your nest egg.
I'm 53, and I will be fine. I was like,
good deal.
10 years from now with appreciation that I've seen in it.
Good deal.
So
Excellent.
that's that.
Yeah. So you want to introduce that to the city and get us put on that, and maybe
way.
at least whether it's dab a toe or dive in full thing. You want to start shifting us to using modern forms of currency and transactions.
In fact, in Colorado, you can pay your government taxes with it now.
Gotcha.
The city of Miami is leaning towards making they are mining, they are creating the stuff. It's a complicated process.
Gotcha.
I won't even pretend to start it here, but the bottom line is the Navajo Nation north of us has earned millions of dollars this year alone just by having computers sitting there running on solar, wind, and gas.
Nice.
And we could do the same, and other than reaching out to the industry to get them to come here, even like you look at the mayor of Miami, they're trying to make it a tax-free city to live in for all the citizens.
And crypto's allowing that to be
they're
feasible.
Generating it.
Nice.
And that's one of my points is I would start, with the approval of the council, if we were mining or if we were contracting a company to mine for us, is my first goal would be elimination of property taxes for senior citizens from the proceeds of what we'd bring in. Start at 65, bring it to 60, down to 55. Like I said, the mayor of Miami is trying to make it a tax-free city. I would probably go the opposite way and try to hope to tackle utility bills for those in need next.
Sure, yeah, because we deal with more with gross receipts and like you said, utilities and things, and that's a bigger impact to us than taxes per se, at least at the local level.
Yeah, you're trying to set me up for topic 2, I think here.
Well, actually, no, I want to go in a different direction because this is something very unique to you as well, and I want to delve into because I think there's a lot of people that think the same thing that you are on this, but aren't sure of the execution of it. And the other is you've said it publicly in here about you would like to at some point take this part of southeast New Mexico and secede it over to Texas and be a member of Texas rather than New Mexico. I know I've heard a bunch of people say that same thing. It's like, man, I wish we secede to Texas.
Yeah.
But we say it in like knowing full well that's not a real reality thing here.
The business owners, I'm surprised.
Let me ask you, in your brain, is that a reality thing? Or you think this is something we could really actually do?
Yeah, Cliff Pirtle brought it up last year as an amendment. Pretty sure it was shot down.
Yeah.
But, sometimes it's better to, you don't always need permission to do something, especially when it comes to government, stuff like that. You can, not so much forgiveness, permission, but the people are rising up, whether it's masks or vaccination, whether it's what's going on in the schools and stuff like that, is that eventually the people, the government's not always acting in the best interest of the people. So this is a thing that you see the little logo where I've got some counties of New Mexico blended into Texas. You're right. I didn't make that up. I found it on the internet last year. It's sort of a movement in the air. And I look towards, there's an article I'll link, it's called Their Own Private Idaho, where there are 7 counties in Oregon who are attempting to do the same thing. And they've been at it for over 10 years. I'm not promising I could walk in and do anything. Mayor does not have that power.
Sure.
But I can start the discussion.
You support it. Yeah.
In Oregon, it's the same thing we're going through here. You've got a, generally speaking, conservative edge of the border counties that aren't feeling that they're represented by the city, 300 miles away by the Capitol and the legislation that's going on. And they've been petitioning for years to move from Oregon, something similar in the West Virginia situation. I would simply say, let's start the conversation. Let's formalize all of this interest and buzz that we're hearing out.
See if we can get
I'm
some
really
legs.
surprised. I thought it was the craziest aspect that I could bring to it, but to my campaign or a talking point.
Yeah.
But it's actually the one I'm hearing the most support from.
Because there's a lot of people that really agree with that statement, but they probably, like a lot of us think, well, that's not going to happen short of a civil war. And, we're fighting, literally the Civil War to break free from New Mexico to go to Texas.
Someone joked with me that, of course, Texas would love to annex 4 or 5 of our counties that are bordering.
Sure.
Because in the event that Texas would succeed, well, that makes us a great buffer zone.
Yeah. Well, it also cuts New Mexico being an oil and gas state in half. If we left, that really would. I mean, you still got the Four Corners region, but I know the volumes that come out of the Permian Basin and the Pecos Valley is, put it this way, they find new veins. We should not be relying on Russia for anything when it comes to that.
Gee, that's a very timely topic for you to bring up.
We should be relying one ounce of oil from Russia we should not need or impact anything we do.
I do agree with that.
That pipeline, I think I saw some stats that I think it's like we use like 60,000 barrels of Russian oil a day. If the pipeline put out 80,000 a day. So right there alone, we just put that back up. We overcost and subsede whatever oil and gas we're getting from them. Fire up that pipeline, that covers that, and then some.
Yeah,
so we're good to go.
One commentator I follow on Twitter, he just commented that they're rattling the chain, they're creating the fear. Mm-hmm. So oil prices are rising up. We may see $100 a barrel, almost $10 at the gas tank, and that's all money going to Russia profits because, like you said, we shouldn't be importing it at this time right now. We shouldn't be. There's people that are, they're switching from Stoli vodka to Tito's to not support. You've
seen a lot of that on the news.
That'll show them. Yeah, right.
But I think it will in the big picture. Like if that's going on globally, and that's what I was actually talking to Jacob Allfair about this. We were talking just off the Russian thing, and I'm sorry, I know this isn't really your campaign, but it kind of is, in the big scheme of things. And I was wondering, because like you say, you're seeing that sentiment of banning Russian products from the shelves and restaurants. If that's done globally, that's got to impact. I know we do that here in the U.S. and, it feels good, but does it make an impact at the end of the day? You see like I'll just pick Chick-fil-A, for instance. They had that out, but, I think they made more money than lost at the end of the day because the people that I'm going to go out and buy 30 chicken sandwiches if you're going to ban them, and so
I canceled Netflix before it was cool, to be honest with you. When I posted my reason for it, the Cuties dilemma like that, 3 weeks before it was a big deal. People were like, "What is that about? Why are you what? Huh? What?" Yeah, so it does have an impact.
Sure.
Same as Succession or even just talking about it.
Yeah.
Is that you're right in the sense that it's our oil and gas, it's our agriculture, it's our healthcare industry right here in Roswell and then the surrounding counties that generate the bulk of both the revenue and the taxes for the state. Yet, our voice isn't being heard, our interests aren't being represented. And we, as Americans, we have this deep-seated back of our mind, taxation without representation. Yeah. Taxation without that calls for action.
Sure.
And I hope it's not, taking up arms, like you said, or civil war or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
No.
It could take 10, 20 years, but to me, it's just a matter of...
Obviously, getting Texas on board would be priority one.
Yeah, obviously. Now, others have suggested that we create our own state, just succeed, and that is a very... interesting idea as well. I've seen it, but everyone that says succeed to Texas, there's an equal number of people that said create our own state. So I'm just going to be the first to say it. If we do that, can we call it, wait for it, Area 51?
I like it.
We'd be the 51st state.
Yeah, there's all kinds of marketing to be had there.
Yeah. I would actually lean into that for the fun of it.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Yeah, you remember when I went to that thing right before the lockdowns, the storm Area 51?
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Everyone was like, I want to find answers. I'm like, you're not going to find any.
Yeah, you're not going to get shot either. But yeah, I was representing. That's another thing I would love to do as mayor. I would love to spend a fair amount of time out of town attending coast to coast. There are sci-fi, UFO, even Comic-Cons and stuff like that.
Sure.
I would love to see us sending more teams, myself included, to those events, passing out all of our flyers, all our brochures of all the things there are to do worth visiting Roswell.
Yeah. Can we talk just real quick? Because I know we touched on your stance on that here, but we really didn't elaborate. Cool. And so let's kind of clarify that for folks. Because I think there's some confusion there. I think there's some people that said that you're like, we need to get rid of the UFO festival and just not promote that kind of stuff.
I've heard that too.
And you're like, and correct me anything I'm saying wrong here, but your opinion is no. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the city needs to get out of that business and let the private entities take over and run with that ball. City facilitating where it needs to help them execute, but they shouldn't be planning, organizing it. They should just open the streets and make whatever logistics that need to happen.
It is sincerely a both and.
Yeah.
It's a both and situation. I don't believe aliens actually crashed in Roswell, New Mexico. And I have a video, I put it up today, like I was saying, that is my view on that.
Mm-hmm.
It actually shows the drawings of the people that cleaned up the wreckage, what the eyewitnesses say they saw, and then side by side on the same PowerPoint, I'm showing you designs from German scientists in World War II, and you put them side by side, it's like, oh, mystery solved. A lot of people don't know we imported over 100 German scientists to El Paso. Right. Now people know Operation Paperclip. X-Files have even covered it.
Yeah.
But in the 40s, we didn't know this was going on.
All those German scientists working on, V2 rockets and new stuff, guess where they ended up?
Yeah. El Paso, White Sands, that's where they were working out of, and that's what they were testing.
You ever notice a lot of those names are German that you hear in the
Werner von Braun?
Yeah.
He was integral to both NASA and Disney for creating our modern reality.
Yeah, they spoke with thick German accents, just to warn you.
From the bottom of my heart, what I would tell people is, because of my beliefs and what I believe actually happened, people are like, it's the goose that laid the golden egg. We have all these other huge industries that have left us. This is the only thing we got, so it's kind of it makes money, therefore it is good. That is not a way I choose to live my life, personally. If someone wants to, as a politician or whatever, I'm not going to interfere with their right to do that. And you can see from the letter editor recently and a few other things, I do not think that the city should be selling T-shirts downtown in direct competition with the local businesses who
Makes
make
sense
that.
to me. Yeah,
and the same with actually flip the script a little bit. The same with the convention center, as far as and I know that was pre-lockdown. That policy is that I think the local restaurants should have the opportunity to bid and to cater. If you're having a wedding and a quinceanera and your family grew up friends with Marty for years, or you've been eating at Cattle Baron or Peppers, you ought to absolutely be able to bring in your favorite dishes and serve that. They're having executive, but again, it's the competition with the businesses. That is one aspect that I can lean into politically. Personally, if I don't think it happened, I don't feel good making merchandise.
Right.
And a lot of people are coming here for entertainment, but a lot of people are coming here for truth as well. And what I'm giving away for free on the internet is the opposite of what we're selling to people. If that's how you make your living, or that's how you want to make your living, or if you just don't know. A lot of people don't know that there's a really logical man-made explanation. And sadly, it's not just German scientists, but another thing they were good at was, back in that day, was human experimentation. And there's a ton of research that shows what they were doing to children and deformed people and gargoylism and dwarfs. Research. I mean, it's part of my outlook. But
I know.
It's
speaking
a
of
sick
Germans
thing to be
and things,
marketing and making money from.
If you ever get a chance to go to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., it's an amazing museum, but they actually have a section talking exactly about what you're just talking about. Of course, it was the Germans they're talking about, but basically, when we hear about the prison camps and all that kind of stuff. Well, also going on, any person, Jewish or not, that was mentally challenged, deformities, born with whatever, an extra eye, or they were basically treated the same way and turned into human guinea pigs. The mixed blessing is we learned a lot of medical science from the experiments they did. The bad point is they tortured human beings, and basically these people's lives were sacrificed for our medical knowledge because of the sick, twisted things they did to these people.
And unfortunately, I do believe, and I do document government records that support the idea that human experimentation of that nature that you're describing played into the Roswell incident. And that was a lot of the cover-up. I don't dispute that if people were threatened with death, if they opened their mouths, radio station threatened to lose their FCC license, that's true. When I moved here, I didn't know any of this, but when 1999, like I said, and especially if you open up in that realm, my first little venture downtown was a shop that had books with orthodox biblical perspectives on UFOs and aliens and abductions, which not a lot of market for. You can't make a living doing that, but I included it in the mix because if people are coming here looking for truth, you have to have something optional like that. Here's a third option, or here's the other option.
Sure.
But the human experimentation aspect of it is that I don't doubt that people were threatened. I'd hear from people, well, my grandfather or my uncle, and this, that, the other thing, salt of the earth. And it challenged me, and I really had to just, wow, if I'm wrong about this, it was prayer. I was like, God, I want to know what really happened.
Sure. People are legit scared to share their stories.
Yeah.
And there's only one reason to be legit scared is someone threatened them to speak.
Yeah, the witnesses aren't lying, but I think what was being a tagline I used back then was alien spacecraft is not being covered up. Alien spacecraft is the cover up.
Interesting.
For what was really happening.
Gotcha. Interesting. Either way, you love to get into more of some of that here. Shoot, we're running short on time.
Okay.
I know I want to keep talking, but there's a whole lot to cover. Let me give you a chance here to talk about some of your other your platform points. I know some of the ones we didn't cover,
Sure.
and some of the things that we got to talking about and go down rabbit holes and other things. But I want to give you an opportunity to talk about some of those other things that you're like, no, as mayor, these are what I support.
A reduction of the white collar salaries of many of the city officials that came up in the leadership forum for Roswell.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a debate, but it was supposed to be a forum. It's the one thing Mayor Kintai turned around and just flat out rebuked me for my opinion on in a corrective way, not in a rude way at all.
Gotcha.
Totally respect him. He's done a great job, and honestly, I did vote for him last time.
Gotcha.
When I first decided that I was going to run.
Sure.
I didn't even know he was going for a third term.
Gotcha.
And
so you're running for you. You're not running to because of anti somebody else. You're running because this is
You're
something
right.
I want to do. It's just it lined up. These people also do it, so here we sit. That's it.
No doubt that I just feel that I'm called to run
Gotcha.
for it. It's not a reaction to anything bad going on.
Mhm.
You are right in that. But with there are ways of bringing new money that people don't have to rely only on the past. And I've talked about promoting the arts as well. That's kind of the third leg of my campaign.
Gotcha.
But between cutting some of these white collar salaries, I said in the forum, in Roswell, New Mexico, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 for is regionally appropriate dream job, especially with benefits.
Mhm.
But we have over a dozen or more. There's a list that I'm not publishing because of my sort. But anyway, I'll show it. But we have $100,000, $150,000, over $175,000 positions.
Sure.
You want to make the zoo a little cheaper to attend, or the pool's free if you have a local ID. If you're a Roswell resident whose taxes are paying to build and maintain these things, I would support. You could just cut a bunch of salaries. Here's how you hire officers.
Sure.
Here's how you give officers raises, perhaps. And people have to understand, I think the mayor does not have the power to enact all of these things.
That's city council.
If you come to me or if you come to so-and-so, but make this happen, the answer is I can submit your idea to others, but it's a team effort. The mayor simply has the tie-breaking vote in a 5-5 city council lock.
And you're the marshal that kind of runs the meeting, making sure everyone stays on task. At the end of the day, that, as Jacob said last hour, that's kind of the most important job of the mayor is keeping everybody on task at the council meeting. That's
honestly, back in the day, I've been at UFO conferences in Hollywood, California, and in Washington, D.C., and one of the favorite roles that I get assigned from the organizers of these events is the panel question moderator. Because, I do bring it back on topic.
Yeah.
I will cut you off if you're there to preach a sermon rather than ask a question and stuff like that.
So you got that skill set already down.
You're correct.
You're ready to slide in that chair day one and do
Thanks.
that.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way. Day one, though, you're right on that.
Very
But
good.
again, like I said, I want to go out of town a little bit and attract people to Roswell for the symphony, for the Wayway, for the community theater. Things that they'll come to Roswell. If they're in our drive distance and they get hooked, like people are saying people don't come to Roswell for that. Well, A, that's not correct. But B, we don't market it that way yet.
Yeah.
But this week alone, Chris, one of your guys, they had a couple stay an extra day, an extra hotel.
I heard
bed
about
night.
this, yeah.
Yeah, from South Dakota. We had a group come up from Carlsbad on Sunday. And I'm sure they didn't just turn around. I bet they
came
ate
and
here.
ate and shop.
They gassed. They got some gas and headed out. But I think there's we have a drive time market of people that are 3, 4, 5 hours away that would need a hotel room. But if you gave them something to come 2-3 times a year, if they fell in love with our theater,
Absolutely.
or Wayway, or the symphony, and I wish Anderson Museum was on Main Street. That's one of my favorite
It's a beautiful museum.
attractions.
Yeah.
To
And their
send
miniatures
people
museum
to.
right on this end of town. too.
Miniatures, the
Yeah.
RMAC.
Yeah. These are all great
I've talked to
facilities.
someone at the RMAC, and they said they have to give one or two refunds a day because people will be walking around the Roswell Museum and Art Center, and they'll finally be like, "Where's all the UFO stuff?" And so they send them down the street, and sorry. So it is it does bring people.
Sure.
I'm definitely saying more.
Absolutely. By the way, since I'm doing this, I'm going to do a quick plug. We got one more weekend of shows for the Roswell Community Theater. Go see. I saw it this weekend. It was great. 4 Old Broads. You got one more weekend. They had a great show. A lot of fun. That cast worked their butt off, and it's amazing.
During the lockdowns, I'd say getting involved with the community theater just saved me.
And of course, Way Off Broadway is about to do Sound of Music. Get your tickets
I'll
for
be there.
that. That's going to be great to see. And then I know right after we're done with 4 Old Broads, Community Little Theater is going to be working on Clue. And I think I want to say coming up here next week or two, they've got auditions coming up, like somewhere around March 7th.
Yeah, people need to quit saying there's nothing to do in Roswell.
a lot
That's
of stuff
untrue. That is a stronghold. That is a lie. There's lots to do. You just need to get out and do it and support
Absolutely.
your local community.
So let me, before we go, give an opportunity. I know Election Day is tomorrow and everything, but if people want to learn more about Guy Malone or get involved or help out or, any of this stuff, what's the best way to do that?
Thank you, Chris, and 106 for helping me design or with the first ad I did. But go to roswellguy.com.
There you go.
To learn all the reasons to vote for somebody rather than against.
Absolutely, and you can see his entire platform, everything. Most
I
of
got
what we talked about. a lot
videos.
more,
I got
too.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then of course, if you want to reach out and learn more about any Bitcoin or anything like that, that's his day job. You'll be happy to talk to you about that.
Don't charge for that. I'll show you how to connect your bank account.
Yeah.
They said 5 years ago people were speculating. 2 years ago we were investing. Now it's savings.
I'd like to bring you on one day here
Let's
after
do
all
it.
this election
We
stuff.
can make it a weekly or a quarterly, just QA.
Talk a little bit. At least get people introduced to it and familiar with it, and then go from there. That'd be good. So, well, thank you, sir. Good luck tomorrow. Win, lose, or draw. Again, thank you for doing what you do, and I know whether you're mayor after tomorrow or not, you're going to still keep getting involved in the committee and doing
Absolutely.
your thing. So,
thank you for
we
what you do.
appreciate you.
Bringing us all on.
Some people love it, some people not so much. It's just one of those things. I'm good at making everyone happy and mad at the same time. I'm pretty adept at doing that. It is 9:53. Let's go ahead and pause for our final commercial break here before we wrap up today's show. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
It's time for the Chaves County Sports Report. Let's give you the schedule for the state basketball tournaments, at least for the big schools today. We've got the tournament starting on Friday for the girls and Saturday for the boys, the first round, and all of these round of 16s will be at home sites. So for the Goddard girls, they're the 10th seed. They'll be playing at number 7 Moriarty on Friday night. Goddard's 15-12 after losing in the district championship to Portales 58-45 on Friday. The Goddard boys, meanwhile, will be taking a trip in the same general direction. They'll be going to play at Albuquerque Academy. That'll be Saturday. Goddard is the 12th seed. Academy is the 5th seed. You may remember that Goddard fell in the district tournament at home to Lovington, so I've got another chance for some more success. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
Now for your Pecos Valley News Update, I'm Jared Cirillo. This is a special year for the Roswell UFO Festival, and the City of Roswell is welcoming vendors and sponsors to be a part of the annual event that attracts visitors from all over the world. The annual Destination Festival will be July 1st through 3rd and will include plenty of immersive experiences, live music, local food, out-of-this-world photo ops, and other family-friendly events. Vendors who would like a spot at the festival, showcase their wares and services, can find the online information and application at ufofestival.com/vendors. Also, a reminder, Tuesday is Election Day in many places, including Artesia. You can vote from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Faith Baptist Church at 402 South 20th Street or the Artesia Senior Center, 202 West Chisholm. If you have any questions, you can, of course, call the City Clerk's office at 746-2122. You're up to date. Local news headlines. I'm Jared Cirillo.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
all this rhetoric, it's going to hurt, and, saying that, well, we never really thought that sanctions would stop Vladimir from invading, but we'll see what it looks like in 30 days. Kamala Harris said sanctions would deter Vladimir Putin from going in. You're talking about paper tiger, phony symbolism over substance, sanctions that are being put on Russia. Because you're allowing the lifeblood of that economy, 50% of the Russian economy is based on energy. And the White House rightly got blasted. Yet the Deputy National Security Advisor said the sanctions levied against Russia in response to their invading a sovereign country, Ukraine, are not designed to disrupt Russia's energy exports.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, Roswell. I'm Guy Malone, candidate for mayor. Welcome to my non-mudslinging political campaign ad. I want you to visit roswellguy.com to find out about all the good reasons you have to actually vote for someone, not vote against someone. Refreshing idea, hey? Well, I've got lots more where that came from. You know and I know that Roswell is destined for same stuff, different year if we don't vote for positive changes that bring Roswell's politics and economy into the 21st century. Malone for mayor, roswellguy.com.
Paid for by Guy Malone for Roswell. Austin Industrial is currently seeking a janitorial staff position to work in the Holly Frontier Refinery. You will be responsible for cleaning and sanitizing offices, meeting rooms, bathrooms, kitchen and dining room, and public areas. No minimum education requirements are needed, no experience is required, and pay is $13.50 an hour for this full-time 40-hour-a-week position. Apply at austin-ind.com or call Miss Cookie Look at 832-657-3385. Austin Industrial is an equal employment opportunity employer.
Ed Heldenbrand, candidate for City Council. He's a patriot fighting against the waste of your tax dollars. As a CPA and Chief Financial Officer with over 35 years of experience, Ed understands the importance of managing budgets. By reducing the wasteful spending in the budget, we can lower your city water, sanitation costs, and work to reduce city fees. Roswell's potential is hurt by bad ideas and wasteful spending. Ed Hildebrand will never vote to shut down Roswell. He'll fight the job, education, and freedom-killing mandates from Santa Fe. It's important that taxpayers see improvements in our roads and city services to attract jobs, businesses, tourists, and to create an environment for local businesses to thrive. In Ward 3, you have a choice. Vote Ed Heldenbrand, the conservative candidate. With your vote, we can build a better Roswell.
I'm Ed Heldenbrand, City Council candidate for Ward 3, asking for your vote on Tuesday, March 1st. It's not about me, it's about we, and I approve this message.